Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My apologies for the later start. It was only half my fault. I'm going to blame the other half on my good pal Casey, which we'll get to that in just a moment. So, quick update. As I've announced before, I am moving in the very near future, and I finally have a moving date. So, next week, there will be a stream. The following week, so for people who are watching this in the future, August 14th is going to be canceled. So I'm that's literally moving day for me. So there's just no possible way. I won't have a computer and I won't have an internet connection, which are kind of two required things to be doing this. I am hoping by the 21st I actually have a streaming setup at my new place and ready to go, but there's a chance that that may not happen. The room where I'm supposed to be setting up my new office in is unfinished, and so we're gonna see how fast I can do sheetrock, mudding, paint, carpet, etc. So there's a chance by the 21st I don't have a room completely done being remodeled, and instead of streaming, I spend the time building a streaming room. So, but aside from that, end of August, the 28th, I expect to probably be back. So, for people who are following along, watch either Twitter or Discord, and yeah, construction stream. Yeah, that'll be exciting. I don't think people want to watch that. That's just a lot of pain and suffering. Okay, so back to the fun stuff. Casey, welcome.
Hola. How you doing?
Good. So last week, for those people who weren't here, we started down the path of turning me into my own Chat GPT bot, which Merry Christmas to you, Izzy. The idea being that I have a GitHub repo where I have downloaded all of my subtitle tracks from YouTube. Let's see, for anybody who wants to play along at home, here's the repo. And buried underneath here is all these markdown files, nicely dated and whatnot for me, with all the stuff I've ever said on stream, which is terrifying. But it also means I've got a nice, easy way to search it. But wouldn't it be better if I could turn myself into a bot and use this as my source material? That sounds pretty cool. Because then the bot learns how much Mountain Dew is awesome. At least I'm assuming that's what it's going to learn. So we started down that path. For those people wondering, so last week, July 24th, we started. This is my Azure spend over the last week. It doesn't really account for today. This is delayed a little bit. So, but you can see as of last week, 383. Okay, see, I'm not sharing my screen with you, am I?
You're not yet, and I was going to tell you after you got through this that unless you wanted me to be a couple seconds delayed, then you probably need to share.
Yeah, so there's a live, you could have a live share, but yeah. So the vast majority of this is the database, right? So of my 383, 331 of that is database. We got a little bit in storage account, a little bit in cognitive service, and a little bit in bandwidth. But overall, there's not like this. So the point being, this is cheap, like very cheap to run, at least at present. At some point we got to host this sucker somewhere, and that'll add a little bit, but I think it's gonna be cheap.
I think it'll be pretty reasonable still. Yeah.
So I did a little work after what we did last stream. So for people who are a little confused on what happened,
fantastic.
So the sum total of most of our code lives right here, right? It rips through a local directory that I've just straight hard coded, grabs all the markdown files, and then starts running through them. I added a poly retry policy because I tried ripping through all these files in a parallel for each. That was bad because I quickly learned that this code is not thread safe. I realized if I had spun a separate DI scope, that probably would have resolved it. Probably. Yeah. I think a lot of our stuff we registered as scoped. So that might have made it go faster. But when I ran it just straight synchronously, I actually got some timeout issues hitting the database, which surprised me. But this thing wasn't tolerant to timeouts, and so after a few hours when it died, it didn't retry, and I'm like, screw that. So retry handler, because darn it, I don't want that to happen. And so then I started it today, and I started running this at 11:47 a.m. Basically, I was like, hey, time to get some lunch. Let's just, kick this thing off in the background. That way it can be processing. And it's been processing and processing and processing and processing and processing. And hey, look, here we are now. It's 9.
Hey, I mean, we're almost caught up with current time. I will say, I
Well,
mean, this is definitely taking longer than I would have expected.
so
So we'll
yeah.
we'll have to dig into that a little bit, but
And you can see here, most of the files seem to take somewhere between 2 minutes. I saw like some 5 and 6 minutes at the worst. I think it's probably averaging a little over 4 minutes if I was guessing. Like I just kind of recorded
yeah.
most of these because not all of these streams are the same length. The files are pretty
Mhm.
variable. So depending on how long
Yeah.
I talk and how much I talk. So like some of them are really big, some of them are kind of small. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay.
I think I kind of spot checked a handful of these. It seemed like the time went up based upon the size of the file. So more content, more time. And I went, okay.
I could definitely see that. And one of the other things that so just kind of off the top of my head, I believe the way that we currently have it set up, it's sending an individual request to the majority of the like external services. So specifically in this case, the Ada 2 embedding endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We do have the availability to batch those. I don't know if it's directly supported inside of kernel memory at this point, but it's something that we could definitely look at. And then that would definitely increase your throughput because I think it's got a maximum of 100 requests batched together in one request sent to the server.
Okay.
Um,
So that would definitely
so we
make
could
it.
look at that.
And overall, I'm not actually too concerned with this because at the end of the day, I'm going to have one of these a week. So
Well, yeah,
3 minutes worth
you're
of
going to be running this
3 minutes worth of processing once a week is like I can.
exactly.
Now the drawback is I have a small problem right now. In order for us to write code, I'm gonna have to stop this execution, which is
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
Well,
But you know what?
I
When the
mean,
stream ends,
I
I'm
mean
gonna
it is, but we
turn it back
also
on and go to bed. So you know what? It can run all night now that I know how long it's gonna take, and it can run
the other
tomorrow.
the other yeah, the other piece of that is that well, first, I would be willing to bet that if we go back and we take a look at what's in the database right now, it's probably not exactly what we want it to be. So there's probably a little bit of changes that we're going to do there anyways. So it'll probably force a rerun regardless. And then the second piece of that is if we get it to the if we get it set up correctly, it should actually pick up what you have and haven't done. So you would be making a request against a file that you've already processed with a MD5 that it matches or a SHA that matches
Okay,
what already is in there, and it
and
shouldn't
it just no
reprocess
ops and says, "Yep,
files.
I already got this. Move on."
hmm
I
Yeah.
like that.
Now we may need to look at our setup a little bit deeper and go take a look at some of the docs for kernel memory because it's been a while since I mean, as I said last week, it's been a while since I set up my last version of kernel memory, or the last time I worked with
And you
this.
did just
So,
memorize
um,
everything and commit it to long-term
meh.
memory. Isn't that what kernel memory
you
is for?
know, Kevin, I'm not as good as you. What can I say? We can't all be Kevins in the world.
Thank
So,
goodness. And in fact, I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna murder Casey. Sorry.
good, good. Get me out of there. Let's get the
Uh,
weather out of there too. Dear Lord.
yeah. Wait, where's the weather?
Oh, you just removed it.
Oh,
It was
hang
up
on. We're
there at
gonna
the
kill
top.
this too.
Yeah, kill that.
While we're
Yeah.
at it, like there's a bunch of this stuff. Okay, so we have this. I did push everything I had done up this evening. So if
Fantastic.
you do go, so if you want to see the latest code, it is there. Um, for what it is worth. So it has everything aside from whatever we're about to do next.
Fantastic.
So here's the program CS, and then the AI services is where we did all the DI registration for it. Let's make that a little bigger for people. And so this is where this is all set up. And I'm going to do one thing really quick. I'm going to just go like this. And I'm going to pop my user secrets and I'm going to put them on a different monitor. And then we're going to go back to this. just in the off chance I need to go in and look at one of those secrets, I don't want it popping up on the main screen. I did really good about not exposing my secrets last week, and I'm shooting for 2
I
weeks in a
mean,
row.
I don't know. I wasn't watching the stream version of this, but I definitely saw some secrets. So,
I wasn't talking about what you knew.
oh, okay, okay, good.
Okay, so last time we started building this sucker up for this, and we had gone as far as setting up our extra handlers. And the key thing that we did was this SRT Markdown partitioner.
Yep.
Right, which this guy was, I think, a knockoff of the text-based one from Kernel Memory, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the one that originally handled both Markdown and plain text files.
really bothers me that their logging is this bad, but whatever.
Ooh.
And then
Yeah, we could change that. Change that. Oh, you gotta go up. You're gonna kill me. That text partitioning handler as the logger. Create logger.
text partitioning handler.
This is not a
What? Give me a line number.
line 46. End of the line.
Oh.
don't think that's
I
who
see.
we
You're right.
are.
This is okay. You're right. Sorry, I'm sitting here staring there going, "What's wrong with that?" Right. It's creating a logger with the
looks
wrong
fine.
category
Yeah.
name. Right. Okay. Which
I mean,
means
it's not a
this
big
guy
deal,
also
but,
has
yeah.
the wrong logging category name.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just that killed the using, so that
A little bit cleanup.
must have been the last one. Okay. And then is this guy?
That we're good, I think.
Well, yeah, and it is. I thought it was telling me it was unused. Private member can be removed as the value is never read. Well then, what I heard was burned to the ground. Because we did our own splitting down lower. That account tokens.
Okay, yeah, we got that. Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because down here we did our own stuff, and there was a handful of things in here where it was like, we might not need some of this. Like that's unused, right? Let's see. Initialization can be simplified. Man, I really should have spent some time cleaning up some of these code bits, because down here, this is where we had started doing some of the work, right? Where we had kind of figured out where we were going to chunk based on number of tokens.
Yep.
And so we had.
Did we already add the smarts for pulling what seems like the end of a sentence?
No, we did not do that.
We don't have periods.
No, we did not do any sort of smarts for end of sentence type stuff. So for people who are wondering, if we go here, right, and we back up to the root of the repo, we go subtitles. I suppose I could have just opened one on GitHub, but there is we're parsing this text out, right? But this is just like the subtitle tracks. There are no sentences. It's just a stream of consciousness from me, which is terrifying at times.
Well, it's interesting. We could leave it that way, and then just purely chunk by tokens with some smarts around at least the end of a word to start, and then we could go back later if we wanted to and do some end of sentence stuff, but that would require sending up to GPT or another model. We could even do one of like the SLMs to predict what the end of a sentence would be, add some periods in there, and then add sentences as a kind of a delimiter for about where we should be with max tokens.
Real quick, define the term SLM.
That'd be a small language model. So build this year, Microsoft revealed or released information about SLMs that they've been working on. I want to say it's not Chi.
Phi 3.
Phi, there we go. I was one letter off. Chi Phi.
Chi Phi.
Yeah.
You want to type in Phi 3. That's the
models.
magical incantation.
Yep, exactly. So they revealed those cheaper, smaller, can even run on device. So we could, in theory, pull it down and run it on the machine that we're running this on. Maybe. I mean, we can kind of look at it.
I've got Olama running already, and I may already have a Phi 3 model downloaded.
But
hypothetically speaking.
But you're not going to be running it here.
That's true.
You're going to be running it on a runner, or depending on where we go, whether it's a runner or a server somewhere.
Correct.
Um, so at least we should work on or add in intelligent chunking with regards to end of a word. We don't want to split a word by grabbing 250 tokens and hitting exactly in like the middle of a word, because tokens, as you know, and I'm not sure our guests here know, but tokens do not represent a letter nor a word. They're a set of letters. They can be a full word, they can be less than a word, but it's really just kind of the vocabulary, if you will, of the LLM.
Now, so I correct me if I'm wrong. I think with our implementation, we won't hit mid word, right? Because we're using our little regex to pull the bits out, right? Because because we have a regex that matches on the text and then the URL, but we end up counting tokens for that entire line, and then stopping so we're not going to hit mid word because
you're right.
we're guaranteed to be within. We're guaranteed to get either all of this or none of this. Now, sentence and thought, very possibly, right? But we're gonna be chunking this in. The first line that exceeds 250 tokens is where we're calling it. So it's not, we aren't chunking to 250. We're going 250 plus however many tokens are in the line that jumps us over. So, I mean, each of those are going to be, because isn't it roughly like a token to every couple characters or something to that?
Yeah, it's roughly 3 to 4 tokens per word.
So, and
I want to say,
and you figure the number of words. I need to quit closing that file. And the number of words in one of these things is. Hey, look, Casey, I found you.
8.
Oh,
what do you know?
Yeah. Boy, I remember what we were doing. This one looks interesting. Oh, this is 2024. Was this last week's? 725. Hey, this was last week.
This would be. Yeah, I was gonna say this looks like last week. I mean, the last one before that would have been 2023.
Yeah, so
maybe?
that's okay.
And then 2021. I want to say time before that.
So
been on here a time or two.
So where do you want to go next then with this?
Well, let's go look.
Yeah.
Let's start by going and looking at our current state in the database. Let's see what those partitions look like.
Okay.
See if they are starting to look better than what we had last time with like ginormous partitions.
Yep. Let me get PG admin.
Yep.
And we'll get that fired up, and let's see. Does it remember my connection, or is it going to make me? Oh, look at that! It remembers.
Huzzah!
Okay, PG admin, you win points. I realize people can't see this, but the fact that the stupid Teams bar keeps fluttering. Hang on, I'm gonna put that over here on top of your face.
The Teams bar is the worst thing ever.
It's gonna sit on top of your face because
that's okay with me.
That's not a bit of screen real estate I need. Okay, so where do we want to go here? So I have, is it here? This KM defaults in my tables. Am I in the right place? Let's see.
So if you're, KM default under tables, yep, you should be able to right click that and do like first 1,000 under view and edit data.
View and edit data. First 100.
First 100.
Close some of these thingies out so I don't.
And I want to say that we also got the URL in there properly last time. So we should be able to correlate to where in the stream properly.
I believe so. Sorry, I don't know which one. Try this again. Okay.
It's okay.
Apparently they released a new version since last week. So I'm covering up the little yellow bar that shows it, but it was notifying me that apparently 8.10 is released. Okay, so we've got all these big long vectors. So it was a way for me to easily collapse.
Shrink.
Yeah, so there's...
It's one of the few things missing.
Yeah, I just want to I don't care about this column. I suppose I could select and not...
Well, I mean, you
select
could...
and drop the column.
I was just going to say.
But star. Okay, so let's see.
You can't do it there, though.
Let's see.
You'd have to make your own.
Tags URL. Yeah, so in our tags, we did get... So for people wanting to follow along, right? There is, so I can make that bigger, right? Does that zoom for you when I do that?
It does.
Beep.
It is very large.
You're welcome.
Yep.
So we do have the
So that looks
URL in
good.
there. So it's, I mean, I'm not obviously not validating to make sure that it's right or anything, but I have a URL that looks like it's correct and it's got the timestamp and everything on it.
Yep.
So that looks
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 good.
pretty good. And then it does have the big long set of text here. So we can see roughly how big that is.
Though that's pretty interesting. If you look down between line 1 and actually really any line and line 8, I want to say, if you scroll to the right, how significantly shorter line 8 is.
Oh, so hang on. Oh, interesting. The next one must have
And
been
that,
the next one must have been really long, I'm guessing. But you're right. It
yeah,
is significantly shorter.
yeah.
It's
So and that's another one of those things that as we kind of go through this, we can start looking at things like that where we can optimize that to get these two closer to the same length. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know any metrics around how much better these perform vector similarity searches work if you and embeddings obviously how much better they work with similarly sized vector content that you're turning into embeddings.
mm-hmm.
But it's just another thing to kind of think about as we move forward and then want to further optimize some of this stuff. But I mean, for the time being, this looks pretty reasonable.
Yep.
I mean, they don't look too terribly long. Uh, I might question how many of these are actually valuable information. But I mean,
Well, and it would have does
yeah.
it when so because I've rerun this now multiple times, right? What is how does it choose what to replace, right? It's based on this key here, right? So I feed it this information, right?
Mhm.
And so I fed it this at the for the key because this is my file name, right?
Yep.
And then where did this P come from?
I want to say that partition is built off of a. I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to go dig in the code a little bit, but it's either a vector or it's a GUID. If it's a GUID, obviously it's random. If it's a vector, or not a vector, but a hash, then it would be the hash of the content. And for some reason, my head says it's the hash of the content because that's what allows you to tell when there's been an update. But part of that's also based on the document itself. And since we are pushing these all up as the same document, I want to say, if I'm remembering what we did last week correctly,
Uh,
we're not splitting these up per transcript being individual documents, but I'm not 100% sure.
yeah, so for the data pipeline, generate file details, right? The ID is a new
Mm-hmm.
GUID. We are getting a SHA-256 hash of the textual data.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the tags are where we went through and made sure that we slapped in the URL to be on top of
Yeah.
all of this.
And we can also,
And
another option there is, and maybe we avoid this with tags, but the other place that you'd often put like the URL or other metadata like that is into the payload. So back on pgadmin, you'll see we have the embedding, we have the content and the tags, but we also should have a payload there. And that payload is used to provide like additional metadata that's actually useful and not so much like the tags are usually used for like
mm,
not utilized metadata. So like, yeah, you see there that's got a URL, the name of the actual file that it comes from, the last time it was updated, so on and so
then
forth.
so hold on, back me up. Walk me through what's the difference between payload and tags then? Now I'm getting them
So
confused.
yeah, you're shrinking that. All right, perfect. So if you scroll to the left on tags, I want to say that tags is more it's like tags would be like robust logging, and payload is like actual useful logging.
Because
Because you have document ID there, you have your file part ID, you have your file type ID, and most of that stuff you're not going to be utilizing even in a downstream portion of an application that would be utilizing this data. Whereas the payload's going to be more like the human readable, human usable data. Um,
got it. Okay. Because I am noticing on the tags, like aside from the one I added, all the built-in ones are prefixed with like double underscore, which my C# brain immediately goes, hands off. Those are internal. Me no touchy. I assume that was the intended message that they were trying to communicate.
I believe that is correct. But the hard part there is the payload. You can't affect and again, this comes from old memory. You can't affect the payload at the level we're at without creating like a custom object that you're moving forward with. And let me triple check my statement there.
Okay.
With my other code that I've done.
Because if I look at this,
I guess I did add the slug as a. It did add the slug as a tag as well, and I think it was because I came to the conclusion that getting it into the payload was going to be somewhat difficult.
It really.
Yeah.
Visual Studio really doesn't want to let me into this. All right, I'm gonna just restart my Visual Studio. It is angry with me, and I don't like when Visual Studio is angry with me.
Usually makes for a bad time.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny was joking earlier that I should be installing my Visual Studio update, and I want you to know I resisted, Kenny. That little red bell is sitting in the corner, and I'm resisting the urge to click on it because there is an update, and I could grab it, and I probably shouldn't be installing Visual Studio updates immediately on stream. I've been trying to be good and install the Visual Studio updates on Thursday, not when I see them on Tuesday or Wednesday. That way, when things inevitably go wrong, see, I have it right there, and I'm not touching it. I'm letting it sit.
No
touchy.
No touchy. No touchy.
So should we look at then potentially working on speed up the processing time of this, or where do you want to go?
I think let's leave that for now. We have options. We could use an external queue. We could use multiple workers running through this to process the actual intake, or the ingress and the intake. But what we could do instead is we could actually build this out first into an API. So actually make it, we post a file and it intakes the file. Or contrary to that, we could proceed with this with a static path, and we could start doing some work around turning this into an action. It really depends on if you want this to be a part of a pipeline like itself, and then you'd have a separate way to interact, like a API to interact with the memories.
Yeah.
Or if you want to use a single API that does both ingress and egress of memories, and we would need to turn this ingress or this ingest into an actual API endpoint taking files.
Well, let me show you something here, because here's my dirty little trick idea.
Your end goal?
Well,
I
had an idea, because your comment there about like multiple runners and whatnot. I'm like, there's a product called Velopack that I built. That
You've told me a little bit about it. But
so here's
tell me more.
Here's how it works. Well, so there's a lot to it, but the part that we're concerned with, people upload files, specifically installers. And when a file is uploaded, it has to go through some processing. Among other things, you've got like malware scans, you've got metadata processing, right? Before the thing goes live, there's a little bit of stuff that happens. So obviously when that file is uploaded, it is not just immediately sent to the go live bucket. it has to go through some steps, right? How?
You mean what CrowdStrike missed?
Yeah, that. I decided it should have some safety rails up.
Wise, very
Because
wise.
you know at minimum, right? Like I want to make sure people don't
Yeah.
throw garbage at the system. I can't prevent bad completely, but I can prevent a lot.
Yeah.
But the idea is, so the API itself, I'll just show this. I could talk about it, or I could just show it. So if we go here and I go to my upload, right? So there's this.
Mm-hmm.
This guy here, so this is the upload. It does some work, and the key thing here, it puts a record in the database with some information about the file, and then it does this process
Okay.
file upload, which is not overly advanced, but it cracks open a storage account and shoves the file into a blob. Right now, I've got multiple containers in my storage account. The arbitrary upload one is the Wild West. That's where things come in. But things don't go out from that publicly, right? Only internal stuff can touch it. So
I would presume you're using some kind of like rings where you've got your raw data coming in, and you're curating it a little bit and cleaning it up, and then at the end you've got something that's at least somewhat trustworthy as your
right.
as your egress.
It's at least going to validate for me at a bare minimum. But then it goes and it slaps this thing. So storage accounts have queues on them. It then goes and slaps a message on the queue to say, hey, new file here, please come process. Well, then we get into the fun area where Azure Container Apps, you can spin a job that just watches that queue and says, message on the queue, let's start processing. And more importantly, I can control how many workers are processing that queue, so I can chunk it as fast or as little as I want. So we got this guy here, which is real bloody boring, right? I made him boring. But the important thing here is in the development environment, i.e. localhost, when I F5 and run, I have this little loop, right, where it's going to sit and do this do while. In reality, the container app is going to spin new instances of this process, and it's just going to then go and process the items in the queue and do work. And everyone's happy, right? And so we process the file upload. So my sneaky little idea was, if I was going to try to do this right, my thought would be, we've already got a storage account. We create a queue in the storage account. We throw all of the files we wish this system to process into the queue, right? We put a Azure Container App monitoring said queue. It spins up, it processes items in the queue, and then if I want to process everything, I throw everything in the queue. If I want to process one thing, I throw one thing in the queue, and it just goes and eats it for breakfast. And it makes that sound while it's doing it, preferably as a WAV file.
Yes, that the sound is necessary. Now, what I would say is let's go take a look at kernel memory real quick, because
you're going to tell me this is built in? I'm going to be a little annoyed if this is built in.
This is built in.
You do realize I had to write code for that.
I mean, yeah, but you're doing it with things that aren't memories. That's true. Of course you had to write code for it. This is a little bit different. I mean, obviously,
go
it's
look
kind
at
of the
kernel
same
memory.
thing.
Do you mean the Git repo or in?
Yeah, let's go take a look at the Git repo to start, and go down to the memory as a service asynchronous API section.
Oh, hold please. I gotta like get there. Sorry, and I'm going docs.
Just straight down through the README.
Oh,
baby.
So okay, so I'm an idiot. I needed
to
scroll.
Level.
Okay, synchronous memory as a service. This thing.
That thing.
Hey, look
at
this!
See that beautiful ingestion queue thing? It's kind of similar to what you were just describing.
Almost like things come in, they get thrown onto a queue, some data gets written to a centralized storage location, thingy pops off and reads from the queue, pulls the items out of the storage and processes them. Dang, damn it!
It's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that.
Dang nabbit. I was feeling clever. I mean, I
You
feel
know,
good that I landed on the right
hey,
answer, but that's just dumb.
yeah. I mean, you are clever, obviously. I mean, you're thinking about this the same way as the people that made it. So, I mean, that's
I mean,
good.
okay, that means
Means
I'm not that far
you're a
off
couple steps
base.
ahead. Exactly. So we have this built in. I mean, obviously, we'll have some configuration around it and such, but this should handle,
Hold on, hang on.
scaling horizontally
Uh,
as desired.
However, if you're in one of these situations, sorry, I'm reading the rest of this, and I just noticed this. I am importing big documents that require minutes to process, and I don't want to block the user interface. Oh, what user interface? Okay. Okay. Oh, they've done all the work for me. Dang it. Okay. Okay. Let's make some
A little
magic.
bit. A little bit.
I'm gonna assume here, and they're gonna just give me. Oh, they've got Docker support. Why do I feel like this is the opener to a container app environment being created? This is what this is.
Maybe. The beauty of kernel memory is if you don't have that much that you need to change, or if you don't have really anything that you need to change off of what they do by default, you just run this baby as a service. You just pull their container, you run this container, and you're basically good to go.
All documents are uploaded and are automatically. Wait, they've written all the code that we've written.
Yeah, but there's customizations that we needed to do. They're good with like a standard markdown or a standard text file. We have a little bit of special formatting there. We needed to pull off the URL. The URL is not useful in the embedding. We need to then partition together all of the pieces that would follow a URL rather than using like the last URL of the grouping that
true.
we're putting together. There's some other intelligent stuff that we're having to do. Plus, we're going to be able to then optimize our embedding size, or not our embedding size, our content size, and other such things down the road as well. So we definitely wanted to do some of that writing.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
there's some of it that maybe
Okay.
rework, but
But there are entire companies putting out like these AI chatbot models that they say, "Oh, just feed in your documents and we'll give you a chatbot out." They can Docker run that solution.
they can. But again, and that those solutions are really cool.
For the 90% case.
But if you're doing anything that's specialized, if you have any kind of specialized formatting or you want to do anything specific, like say you're running Markdown in and you want to be able to, you chunk through your Markdown and tables, you don't want to cut halfway through a table. You want to use the entire table. That's one of your chunks. Or you
Yeah,
want
that's
to get the
true.
content from your table instead of the actual formatting around the table, and that's a chunk. And so there's definitely some smart things that you have to do that are not just built into kernel memory, but it does provide you the majority of the framework around orchestration of this for free.
Yeah. Oh my word. Sorry, I'm just looking at what they have here.
Oh yeah, like again,
This is
we were at
insane. They could
Kevin,
not
we
have
were
made
at
this
build.
easy.
Kevin, we were at build, and I wanted to meet Devis. This is why I wanted to meet Devis. He built the majority of this, from my understanding, and did a lot of the architecture here. They've done a really good job with this.
I do not think they could have made this easier.
No, they
I'm
really
trying to
thought this
imagine
through.
how you make this easier. I mean, Docker run, you have to give it a key so that it knows what to do as an environment variable. You have to expose a port so that you can, get to it. And then you're done. Right? I believe IT
Mhm.
is interactive terminal and the -rm is to let you nuke and rerun, I believe. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
insane.
and they're giving us the Docker file. So as it says on that first line under Docker support, you can use the Docker file in the repo for custom builds. What do you know? That's us, custom build.
Holy cow.
I know. I know you like building things, but I like using people's things and building a tiny bit on top of
I
it.
mean,
Make my life easy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. Oh, Izzy's pointing out RM is remove on exit. Thank you, Izzy. I remembered it was something about
Oh,
being able to basically hit up arrow enter repeatedly from my terminal. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just reading through this Docker file to see exactly what they're doing.
hey, look at
Hey,
that.
look.
The man himself, Devis.
There is. So when you said Devis may have had something to do with this, I
Like I
think
said,
this
a
this
little
line
bit.
here would strongly indicate.
Yeah.
Does it have service discovery built in? I don't think so, but it looks like a
I
standard
don't think so
ASP.NET
either.
Core app. So with short version, it would not be hard. Would not be
Yeah.
hard. Okay. So, how do you propose we proceed then? What do you want me to do? Do you want me just to spin a?
I mean, I come back to the original question. Do you want to run this as in the pipeline, synchronous, or do you want to run this as a service external and we just, make requests and it queues up and it runs this good stuff?
Dang nabbit, let's do the service.
That's the right answer.
So why were you asking if there was a right answer? You can just tell me what the right
Well,
answer.
because I'm not paying for this. You are.
I'm
Well,
paying for
I
it.
mean, kind of. Microsoft is
Let's
paying
be
for
clear.
it. Yeah.
These are my MSDN credits that are used for playing, and this is at this point this is definitely playing. I'm sorry. What the heck is this?
That is a new service I have not seen. Ask your
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
So we're
Oh.
just gonna add that to favorites, and we'll come back to that later because
Wait. Go back real quick. I want to. There's a piece that I want to read real quick that
on here.
right at the end there, they are ideal for safely running untrusted code such as user provided scripts or code that is generated by LLMs. Okay.
I mean, that kind of makes
So
sense.
this is what we use as the back end if we want to add code running to a as a skill for an LLM. Okay.
Correct. So
I like it. I love
hypothetically,
it.
if a website like Essential C Sharp wanted to hypothetically have a little code runner for like being able to execute the code samples, we might use something like that. Hypothetically.
It would be pretty cool.
Hang on, I gotta check.
Yeah.
Benjamin, take notes. Just hypothetical. Hypothetical. Okay, so we're gonna go with a regular container app. Misa thinks.
Misa agrees.
Let's see. This is not the right thing. We're going here, and I'm going to steal this container image. Now,
Beautiful name.
Are we gonna customize the image, or do you just want me to pull their image straight off of Docker Hub? Because they've got it. We're gonna so you want me to do a custom version of this, yeah?
I mean, if we're gonna get our pieces into there, I think we have to, right?
No,
unless I'm mistaken.
No, you are correct. I just I could literally just do this. So because a container app is like having a Docker run in the cloud. Like I can just point it and say
fair.
Go, and it then go.
Nah, I think
region Australia East.
I think
no, we want to. I'm in the West Coast U.S. Let's go be close to me. Container app environment. No, I would like to make my own environment, please. And it will be called. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna go there.
Consumption, yeah.
Will be zone redundant. We don't need zone redundancy. This is not the type of thing that I care about. Doing this, we'll turn off logs. Streaming's fine. Use your own VNet. Nah. Make me a VNet. Okay. So we got that. Got that. got that. I wonder what I wonder if it's gonna let me spin this without.
I don't think it allows you to spin without an image, so we would need to create the registry and.
Oh, you're
Oof.
right. I have to have a registry and all that stuff. Hang on. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna point it at this for the moment, and then we're gonna go. We'll work in the other stuff as we get there. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Command override. Ye tiny. Don't need any bindings. I'm going to leave ingress off. We're going to want it, but I don't really want to spin this right now and have a public ingress. No ingress means I'm not worried about somebody hitting it yet.
Yeah.
Plus, I think
fair.
we can do the private networking if it's only going to be hit from a GitHub runner. We can allow just Azure services in, and then I don't need it to be public. Maybe I want it public. I don't know. I might want it public, but I can throw the off on it. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can off it.
Yeah.
Send it.
Send it.
You seem to want to ruin my send it approach of everything.
Well, I think it's gonna fail to start because you. Okay.
We don't care if it fails to start
because we didn't provide it with any endpoints.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Keys,
I don't care.
Endpoints, keys, for any of that
it can be
stuff.
A dead container. I just want the infrastructure up for the moment.
It's not just that it can be a dead container; it will be a dead container.
Stand by. I'm gonna move this over to here, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. How is that Teams thing always on top of what I want to click on?
It's literally always in the way.
I don't know how it manages to pull that off. Okay, so let's see. We need container or register. No, dang it, I saw it. Stop helping me. Container registry. I need one of these. Gimme. Create. Gimme. Let's see. There is only one name. I'm going to be really disappointed if at some point we get into a situation where somebody beats me to one of these names. So everybody watching, please do not hose me. Let's see. That's fine. Yep. I mean, in theory, I would terraform all this, but we'll send this. Okay, deployment complete. Go to resource. You are probably correct in that if we go and look at our container, it probably unhappy.
He should be. Also, I forgot about this, but I'll post it into the stream chat here. For those of you that are familiar with semantic memory and semantic kernel, which uses semantic memory, and want to know the differences or some of the improvements that have been made to kernel memory, lessons learned that were taken from building out semantic kernel and semantic memory. Here's a nice chart that kind of gives you a table that gives you some of the differences between the two. Kind of fun. Gives you some interesting insight.
Hang on. That is also going to go sit over here on my pending list. Okay. Okay, so we've got container registry is up. Yeah, we are definitely in a dead zone in terms of to be
expected.
Container crashing. What a shock. Well, given that we didn't configure it properly, I suppose crashing is the most expected outcome. But you know what? It stood up. Okay, so now we need to do something to take their happiness, make an image, put it in the container registry, bippity boppity booyah. Right.
Turn it into our happiness,
so
exactly.
I have this, but I assume what you want me to do is grab their Docker file. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because
I think we're going to need to grab their Docker file. Yes. I think it'll at least make our lives easier. We don't have to build our own.
I mean, I'm gonna have to tweak some of this a little bit, but
of course.
We're gonna make it happen. So give me 1 second.
That's a good starting point.
Let's see. I gotta go to the right folder. Okay, and then we go. Let's see. Nope, nope. I put it under AI here, and I wish it wouldn't do .txt. Bad GitHub. Because last I checked, that's what a Docker file looks like. Huzzah! Okay.
Beautiful formatting.
Yep. So let's see. They are running .NET 8.0 for Jammy for build, Alpine for running. Great, great, great. They have. Okay, sorry, just reading this. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna need to adjust where this is. Yeah, some pathing. Because the question is where do you want to run the Docker build command from? Right? Because I'm gonna get a get me a terminal. I want a terminal. Right? And I'm kind of thinking that we might just. So for people unfamiliar with Docker, the let's see, CD AI, right? And then we go. Nope, that ain't it. Try again. Let's see. Docker build, right? And then as long as you're in the directory with the Docker file, it should find it. The period, very, very, very important. But I expect this to fail here in a moment because even though it'll be able to pull the base images, once it gets around to actually building the app, we will have problems. Like, for example, .NET build run thing, right? Because it copied in from the working directory or into the current directory from SRC, but that isn't going to fly. So I think what we can do, let's see if I can get my pathing correct. Wait, this is copy current directory into SRC. That's fine. Current directory is not going to be this. It's going to be Kaboo bot API.
Bot.
Right? And then it's going to be Kaboo bot API CS proj. And then same thing here. Okay, let's go here. Let's see. What did I do wrong here? This is where I'm going to get my pathing wrong. Oh,
I think it's because you're still one
because
too
I'm
too high.
You're right, because my directory is down. Right.
If your Docker file was a step up, it would be
right.
Well, you
secretly though. So here, let's do this. Docker build, but I will do. No, I'm now, my working directory is one level up, so my context is set one level higher above my project, and then we go Docker file like that. See, now it's hitting the .NET build properly. This is one of the things, like the pathing in Docker always gets me, right? Because it's so much is hinging upon your context, and really running a Docker build like this from an arbitrary directory, like I feel like the two patterns I see is you run it from the working directory of the project, or you run it from the root of the repo. Everything else is considered weird or awkward.
Yeah.
So naturally, I've landed on one of the only things I would consider wrong. Okay.
Naturally.
Okay, so we got an image. We got it up. Bippity boppity booyah. Let's see. We should have probably tagged it, right?
Yeah.
I think T is KabooBot. Let's see. Docker, is it LS? No, what is the? There's I'm about ready to just open Docker Desktop because I can't remember these commands. Load, kill, and inspect.
What are you
I want to
looking to
list
do?
my images to run them. Oh, that's what I'm. Oh yeah.
Images. Yeah.
Like,
It's always the simplest thing you
yeah.
can think of.
Uh,
Also,
what?
holy moly. Oh, it's SQL Server. That's why it's so big. I was like a 1.5 gig image? Dang.
Yeah.
Makes more sense though. It's
Yeah.
SQL
Well,
Server.
let's just say that would be for Velopack.
Mhm.
Docker run.
Nice.
Right. So this should. Well,
Fail.
command could not be loaded because you intended to execute a .NET application. Microsoft kernel memory service assembly does not
Assembly.
exist. You intended to execute. So, hang on. What is the execution command? Well, okay. So it's trying to run .NET Microsoft kernel memory service assembly. That is probably not going to work.
That needs to change.
So that's a problem. Because if you try to .NET run something that's not there, it no worky. Go back here.
Seems reasonable.
I mean, I'm an amateur, so. I will say at some point, if we get this working, I may want to go back and redo this because this .NET Publish has support for building images without needing Docker files. Yeah.
Really?
You can just configure up your CS proj. And the cool thing about that is that means you can ship like a props or a targets file in a NuGet package and be off to the races. So you can
slick.
you can get the power of MS Build inside of a Docker file, which is kind of weird because it means the MS Build step does the equivalent of generating the Docker file, then does the Docker build onto it. So you can configure MS Build properties to muck with that generator that then's going to get built, and so you can have it, your project name, do all kinds of funky stuff. Things
Interesting.
I want to abuse. Okay.
Does that work? Is that working as a C# generator under the hood?
No, so it's MS Build and .NET SDK magic. So you have to be trying to remember. I think you have to be 8.0. It might work in 7. I don't remember. I think it may have been introduced in 7, but 8.0 they finally added in extra stuff like running as non-root user and other things, if I'm remembering properly. And there are obviously limitations to it because you can do whatever you want in a Docker file. Obviously, the MS Build stuff there, you don't have quite the same level of power, but most of the time you don't need it.
Yeah, not the same flexibility. It would make sense though.
So it fired up, listened on ports, set it up. It's rocking. If I had actually forwarded ports, we could have pinged against it. Mountain Dew 0.
Baja Blast.
I will see your Baja Blast and raise you a Baja Blast with sugar. So cheers.
Cheers.
With any luck, I may have gotten a nice lead on a Mountain Dew supply, which is wonderful.
I mean, I call a Mountain Dew supply the supermarket, but I mean, sure.
Yes, but who supplies it to the supermarket?
Are you going straight to the distributor? You madman. What are you buying? Are you ordering a shipping container full of Mountain Dew here, sir?
No, I was limited. I was told there was a maximum, not a minimum.
Oh, Lordy.
Okay.
That's great.
So we've got what I think is probably close-ish to a working system. I mean,
sweet.
We could go through and I guess we could test this really quick, right?
I mean, if you run it, we should be able to go and see the API endpoint, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm gonna just do this real quick, just so we have something to hit, right? And then because the only problem is I didn't, when I launched it, I didn't bind the port. So like in their docs,
they got the 9.
Yeah, well, it's
1001.
You got to do this to say thing on outside forward to port on inside, because if you're listening to port 9001 inside, that doesn't do any good.
Yeah,
it's kind of like those hotel rooms where they've got the doors on both sides. If you only open one of them, You can't walk through the doorway.
The shared room, those things are so funny. Like I don't see those anymore, but the old hotels that had like you could turn one or two rooms into one, those were definitely interesting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's basically that. Um,
I like that analogy.
yeah. Door on left, door on right. Okay, so
Yep, yep,
now
yep.
that's up, and now I should be able to just go. Doo. I think. Connection refused. I don't remember. What is the magical incantation? Okay, I give up. Where is my...
I mean, you should be able to do /health, right? Because you mapped it.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm just trying to remember if localhost is the right host address for it. Because there's a very real chance that I have the wrong host address. The wrong
127.0.0.1, maybe?
Yes. But like, so for
Or
example, if we go here, right, and or is it the...
it's so funny. I do not use Docker Desktop ever.
Why does it show no ports bound? That seems wrong to me. Oh, did I get my... I think I got my... okay, hang on. If I remember, the order of execution matters here. Yeah, so you want to do... So it's almost like the people who wrote this knew what they were doing. Right?
Yeah.
And now I should see... Now we have bound ports.
That does look more
right?
more happy.
So
like
that looks like we should, and then...
Hey, there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
So I have it working. Now, obviously, there is some problems with our setup. I'm going to close Velopack. Most notably, the fact that my enumerate files, that ain't going to work inside a container.
Dang, that ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, that no worky. So we're going to need to, honestly, if we wanted to, we could pull straight off of GitHub. Right? Public repo.
I mean,
HTTP client, get a string, rip down the files, bippity boppity boo, yeah, done. Right? Because I could feed in. I could feed in the file name, and the root of all of these things is gonna be.
Ooh,
right?
I like
because
that. I like that.
Because the root of all.
Yeah, you're.
If you go here and you go. Now you might get rate limited if we pound on it too hard, but
yeah,
I can prefix that URL.
Yeah.
With any markdown file name I want, and I can just pull the string and poof, I got my markdown, right?
Bob's your uncle. Yep.
So
I like that, and it's also simpler than doing a real file upload.
Yeah, like that. Okay, I'm gonna
with name do stuff. Ingest.
That's the funny one. That's what we should do. A J for a single file. How about process file? All right, we're gonna do this. Will be the singular one, and we will do process file name, something like that.
Something like that.
Right. And then rather than this, I would like to do builder services add HTTP client, and then we're gonna go with from services HTTP client. Yes, I am fully aware that there are ways to optimize this. Base URLs shared, blah 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 blah. Do I care? No. string base URL gets to, and then did I copy it? No. That would have been smart and straightforward and right to the point. We just want that. All right, so in this case, this is going to be a real simple. Actually, screw that. We'll just do URI file URI gets new, and then we will just literally slap that sucker in file name, and then
I like it.
right, and then we are going to not do any of this stuff. Or I'm just looking to
Yeah,
see
not
what the thing was, because we just need to open a stream to it. It looks like, so I just need to change this up a little bit. So client, get stream async, file. I don't know why Copilot has been on this continue with kick. Knock it off, Copilot. I'm not writing code that way. Stop it. Using var file stream gets await. All right, we'll make this stream. I don't know, file stream. I don't like that. Implies local file. Markdown stream, better. We are not going to do a retry policy on this one since it's a single file. Screw that. Let's see, await, process file. You know what? If we're just doing a single one, we don't need a separate function. We're just going to do this. Let's see. And then this guy here, how do we just want this, do we just want to see this work first and get this published and then worry about the actual servicey bits?
Let's do it all. Let's just do the whole thing.
Do it all?
Yeah, keep going.
Do it all? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so so this will work, right? Like, markdown stream.
Yep.
And we're gonna do file name, right? We should probably to do handle bad input, because right now, what's validation? Who cares about validation?
I mean, the nice thing here is that, I mean, with the exception of
it's gonna blow up right
screwing
here.
it up at the
yeah.
I mean, us screwing up at the beginning. I mean, you shouldn't have much bad input because you're going to be only requesting from a known source.
Yeah, but there's also things like I might want to put some rate limiting and whatnot on here so that somebody doesn't just pound this API to oblivion. That sounds bad to me.
But nobody can pound it to oblivion except for you.
Well, once I publish it. Give me a moment. You seem to think that publishing is going to take me a while. I'm not sure you know this, but I can publish stuff real quick.
The master of publishing.
If you don't ship, it doesn't matter what you build.
That's a philosophical question. I don't know if I can agree with that one without thinking about it deeply. For a little while. I got to think about that one for a bit.
I mean, I suppose there is an argument to be made that if you like gained learning or something along the way, it doesn't matter that you didn't ship. But
well, and I mean, if you created, so let's go with the, we're on the AI kick here. Let's say you created, the true super intelligence that, per the fears of all the fear mongers would destroy everyone. I mean, maybe it's more valuable that you didn't ship it. Maybe?
I mean, I suppose that's true. So you are positing if I build Skynet
and you didn't ship it, it's more valuable that you didn't ship it than you did.
I mean, okay, there is an argument to be made there. Let's see. Well, it blew up immediately. Let's see. Ingest found. Endpoint names must be globally unique. So it turns out.
Yes. That can be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, I probably should be like deving in the container rather than doing this weird local publish process.
Probably, but
details. I just have all this faith that it's going to work perfectly the first time without a lot of thinking involved.
And if you press go enough, it usually does.
Yeah, I mean, like I suppose we could test by like, pressing F5. That would be one that would have been one way to catch this bug a little bit earlier and just verify that the code works immediately for me.
Yeah.
See how long the build takes when I've got two things trying to build simultaneously. There's no way that causes any problems whatsoever.
Totally fine.
Except for one's
even worry about it.
building in release mode, one's in debug. So, oh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Refresh. 500. Oh, the other one caught up. So it turns out my user secrets aren't being published into the container, which means that it no worky. But
Yep.
if I go here, this guy is running in Windows. If we look at, let's see, specified method is not supported. Let's see here. What do we do? Pipeline base orchestrator. Oh, it doesn't like me pulling in arbitrary
Length strings.
well, so it's trying to
length
call
streams.
dot length on the stream,
Mm-hmm.
and the stream from an HTTP client is basically forward only, and so it doesn't know the length in these cases. So let's change this code up a little bit. So here we'll get this working in Windows, and then we'll deal with the fact that it no worky in container, which is probably it. So let's just do get string, right? Like we could copy into a memory stream if we wanted to, but I don't know if that's. I guess we are going to end up doing this a little bit using stream. Gets new memory stream. Oh, sorry, Copilot. I apologize for cutting you off. I think you had it right the first time. Please don't fire me. Okay. So that should fix at least that problem. At some point, it might be nice to figure out a cleaner solution rather than just blind copying the entire data in. But you know what, me.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the slow part.
No.
Like at least I don't think it will be. Yeah, because it jumped in. Because let's see, the timestamp, did it timestamp it on the way in? I wish the console logger doesn't log timestamps, and I wish it did. Whatever the time was between here and here was the amount of time it took to download from GitHub and store it into a memory stream. Oh, it's thinking, so that's probably a good thing. I just realized something that's probably wrong in our code.
What is that?
After we copy into the memory stream, the position on the memory stream is going to be at the end.
Yeah.
So that's
true.
But this thing is thinking, which gives me pause.
Application is shutting down.
Yeah, I told it to stop.
Oh, I was like, wait a second.
But the thing is I gave it a graceful shutdown, but it would give a timeout period for the handler to finish executing. The thing is, the handler might run for several minutes. So this is the other drawback is I don't have a tiny file out there. So it's
yeah, not out there. You don't. You have the tiny file.
I have the tiny file locally.
Yeah.
I don't think I pushed that. I hope I didn't push that.
I don't think you did. If you did, I'm gonna laugh. Ooh. Well, hello there.
Well, hello there, my little friend. My little friend. I mean that literally in this case. Hold please. Hold please. We're gonna double check this. Because I think I
Oh yeah. Yep. That top one is too, isn't it?
No, it's this one is the tiny one. You see, I can scroll down and I can reach the bottom in a sane period of time. So we're just gonna grab that sucker. And we're going to come back over to here. We're going to cancel this. Try it out again. Oh, it's going to hold this. Hang on. Refresh. There we go. Break execution. Now, give me a good example of running these in parallel. Done
Well, what do you
processing
know?
file in
It's
8 seconds.
processed.
Memory is the key.
Beautiful. I love it.
That's what a 200 looks like, my friend.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so we have that guy going.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you want me to do next? We can look at getting this all the way published, or we can look at trying to pipeline you this thing with like the queue and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna garner the benefit of doing this as a queue, we should probably set up the queue.
Okay.
Or else we might as well have just done it in process.
Yeah. So, do they have docs on that?
I believe so. You go to docs.
Otherwise, because I like the
and-
way I would do is I'd be going to my storage account, spinning a queue, and blah 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 blah. Right, and I see they've got. Not what I want. That's not what I want.
Serverless.
Because I think what I'm gonna do in terms of publishing out the secrets is I think I'm just gonna set them up as environment variables on my container app and call it a day. Like normally you'd map them with a key vault and all that. Just,
Yeah.
That's more coding, and I got to set up a key vault and a managed identity and.
The troubles.
Yeah. So because this is theirs.
Ingestion handler.
They have a nice setup here for all of that.
Default pipeline.
But I guess that's what I'm wondering about is they've got this service which has all this
Orchestration.
stuff, and I'm kind of wondering if the expected idea was that you bring in all of this stuff and use this as a starting point for your projects, right? Because it looks like they've got all of these extensions that are using minimal APIs. See, minimal APIs are good.
No.
See, minimal APIs.
I know.
They're-
I'm just not on the train yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, don't worry, we'll fix you.
So docs wise, I mean, yes, there should be some docs, but no, there isn't docs.
I mean,
So if you go under docs and then under extensions, orchestration, Azure queues.
extensions, orchestration, Azure queues. Highlight documentation under development. This is less than what I was.
Face.
This is what I was
Sad face.
hoping to see.
A RabbitMQ maybe?
I mean,
And no.
I don't mind.
No, we figure it out ourselves.
I don't mind Rabbit. I mean, so like my old mentor actually works for them. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's cool.
So whenever I have RabbitMQ questions, I know exactly who I go to.
It's always
Please
slick
save
having
me.
somebody to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So pro tip
There's
for everybody:
some-
make friends wherever you go. You never know when you might need them.
True dat.
Like for example, I met Casey.
You did meet me. Although we met a long time ago at this point. Shoot.
Yeah, you're
Some-
old.
8 odd years ago? That's crazy.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like I've been there forever. Sometimes it feels like I only just started.
Let's look here because it seems like this service ASP.NET Core, like this guy here. I bet you this is a NuGet package. I bet you this is published as a NuGet package.
I think we already have that NuGet package.
Do we?
I think so. I think we pulled that bad boy in already. I could be wrong, but
Well, if
I
we
think
don't,
did.
we're about to add it. So let's
Darn straight.
because
Darn straight.
this guy here, now that I understand what he is, he comes with all the extensions to automatically gen your endpoints. Oh, look at that.
Eh,
It's
Like I
already in.
said, I
Okay,
thought we had him.
So So here's the thing, right? Like inside of here, this guy has a bunch of extensions. Add kernel memory endpoints. Like you call this method, it's gonna do work. So hang
Yep.
on. Like
And
if
since
we
we've
want to
already built out,
if we want to do all the things, we literally come up here and we do, I think we just do builder this maneuver, right?
yep,
Uh,
that using statement.
hold up. Web application builder. Web application builder. App.
Ah,
I think it looks something like that.
it might. It might look something like that.
Let me just kind of briefly scan this. Because all of these other ones look to be, because it's got the top level method that's add all the things. Then it's got the individual ones around it. Okay, let me look here. And then there's the add kernel memory. But all this entire thing here is just to do an add singleton for an iKernel memory. But I think we already have that with our add AI services because I believe we are adding in our own kernel memory. So I
Yep.
don't think we
Which we
want
need
that
to
part.
because we're and we need to do that because we're defining all of our own handlers.
Did you mean to register the unknown parameters as a service? I'm sorry. Huh?
Huh? Come again?
Let's see. Create arguments. Query body
Nice.
inferred. Invalid operator. Failure to infer one or more parameters. Below is a list of the parameters that we found. Context provider. So something has a context provider. And I don't know which one of these. Okay, so hang on. Maybe we dial this sucker down a little bit. So just to make sure, I get rid of you, problem go away, right?
Problem go away.
I'm going to assume that that's the. Okay, yeah. So one of the guys that this guy is adding in is ye problem for us. We go here, we go here. We don't actually, do we want all of these? Because we can probably
No.
find the
Realistically, all we want is
provider. This guy, there's context provider. We can I can probably narrow down. Post upload endpoint needs it. That's the same thing. What do we got down here? The ask endpoint wants an iContext provider.
well, and we don't need the ask endpoint yet because
Yeah.
we're not requesting anything back from the memories at this point. We just need, I think, the upload endpoint.
I'm just curious real quick what they register here because they must register something to have that ready to rock, right? Like oh, app builder configure Swagger. What's this do? Is this their own method? It is. It is. Add endpoints API.
Oh, look at that API key.
Yeah, so we actually may want some of this.
In the long run, for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if I just steal it now, and I'm kind of just looking to see if one of these guys registers up extra stuff. This is pulling in files. Path join. That's interesting. I'm trying to remember the rules between path join and path combine. One of them's intelligent, one of them just like blindly puts slashes in. Add secret manager. Okay, so let me borrow this file real quick because, borrowing.
Seems reasonable.
And then I don't think that's gonna fix my thingy-mabobber yet. but it does add that. It adds kernel memory. They do some core stuff. Just trying to look to see if there's anything else that they do that adds this, because they add kernel memory and do some extra stuff there. They add a health check endpoint, though it's kind of a worthless one, but that's no different. They've got a bunch of output and logger stuff. Add handler as hosted service. Oh, so they're doing a hosted service for the processing. Okay. Got it. Okay. You change namespace. Clean that up. Figure swagger. We go here. We go here. We go here. We go here. We go. Kernel memory config. I don't know. What does it use in the config for exactly? Service authorization enabled, run web service, open API enabled. Let's just do.
Ooh, batch sizing.
Let's go here. And we're going to just do this. Right? Because I think we can get away with this now. Get away with this now. Okay. Really? Copilot? Really? I know you're trying to show off, but knock it off.
I don't know if those are real.
I was looking to see if they were. It doesn't look like they are.
I don't think they are.
I mean, it's
Nice try, Copilot.
Also max kernel memory.
Yeah.
That might be a little. Well, hold on. Kilobytes. That's only a gig.
Okay.
Like, it's not unreasonable. No. Let's see. If not run web service. See, this thing bothers me, right? Modus ponens. Those people who don't know that name, how you can invert, right? Hold on. I think I got that backwards. Didn't I? This is okay. Invert if. Thank you. So if so it wants config service and then run web service. So inside of here, it wants, inside of you, it wants something called service. And inside of service, it wants run web service. And it wants it to be, you're very close, Copilot. Let me help you. There you go. Want to do the next one? No. See, you lose editing privileges, Copilot. Right? And then we do and then it does this. Service authorization enabled. So I want to turn on service authorization at the root of my config.
And I think that's what's handling the or
hold
turning
on,
on
service
the
authorization.
API key stuff.
Service authorization. And show off. Knock it off, Copilot. Not until I tell you to. HTTP header name. Okay. I just decided that I'm doing a lot of this stuff when I could probably just go poach it right out of their config.
Probably.
Let's see. Console, kernel memory, service.
There's the one.
Service authorization. Wow, they got a lot of stuff in here. Wow, they got a lot of stuff. Okay. Hopefully this doesn't bite me too badly. Come here, come here. I do wonder if it might have been easier to just do. Okay, I probably have bad nesting now, but collapse, collapse. Collapse, collapse. Oh, is kernel memory?
Yeah, I think
I think
you're missing one extra
I needed
one extra
one
at the end.
here,
Yep.
right?
I believe that to be the
And then
case.
that goes like that. Make sure there's, yeah, I added that. Okay, so that's a lot of configgies. Open API enabled.
Lots.
True. Right? Bum. Run handlers, blah blah blah
Ooh.
blah blah. Let's just send this real quick and see what happens.
Ooh, though, that
Still got the unknown parameters of service, so I've missed some setup. Sorry, you had a thought.
well, I was just gonna say the handler specifications there. Name the assembly, name the class. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we
As
deploy,
config.
yeah, as long as we deployed our, as long as we deployed our assembly inside of it,
Mm-hmm.
made it accessible. Okay, we're about ready to go. It really hates me. Day, good boy. Yeah, this is, mildly terrifying though too. If somebody was ever able to inject an assembly into our running environment, world becomes real bad, real fast.
This is true.
So details.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we still have the issue of a couple of these endpoints are wanting this configuration provider, and I don't see where it's getting configured up at. So, right, so this guy here,
Configuration provider. Let's see
or I'm
here.
sorry, iContext provider.
Ah,
This guy here, I believe, is our problem child when it comes to launching because, oh, did I kill it already? Because when we launch this guy, right, this thing is failing, and I am assuming that is the iContext provider because the parameter name is called context provider. And that was the type when I text searched. Add request context provider. That looks remarkably like what I want. That's in the main library, though, it looks like. Maybe that's why I'm missing it. Okay, so I want to go here, and I want to go builder, services, add. There. I assume they probably have a top-level method that probably works its way down into this. Huzzah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm probably just missing a top-level invocation that gets me down to it. Show. I now have this, which is kind of terrifying and kind of awesome all at the same time. But it gives me
the fact
an
the fact that it just provides it to you is kind of slick. There's your file upload.
Yeah, except for they didn't
an actual file upload.
They didn't configure the Swagger for file uploads. So
I mean, they're probably not presuming that you're going to be using the Swagger, but
what the hell am I supposed to send it? Like, write code? That sounds like work.
What? Make a postman request? What?
Yeah. That's okay. Maybe I will contribute back to kernel memory and I will fix the Swagger.
Yeah, there you go. You should do that.
That seems like a thing we could do. Okay. So, sorry. We did all of this, which is great. But now the question, right, is this thing here has the upload. But at the end of the day, what I think
we want to do a file name upload.
Yeah,
right.
But so let me see if I'm grokking this properly, right? So inside of
service, yep.
Well, but this is abstraction, right? So this guy here adds all our endpoints in, right? And we can look at what the post upload does, right? So it maps a request, does all of this stuff, right? Posts the upload and gets us all going, which is great, right? Like this is kind of what we expect. It
Yes.
imports the document, does the work, does everything we want, gives us back an accepted. Great. But what I am missing then is like this thing here has to add in. So on the service that they have here, right? They have to add in a hosted service for doing the processing, because I realize in their README, right? They show, where did it go? They show this picture, right? Kernel memory web service, kernel memory async handlers. But the thing is if I were to draw this box, like,
Yeah.
well, excluding this
Yeah.
and
Yep.
this, right? All the rest of this is all running inside of a single ASP.NET Core app, because I think what I understand, like the default config that I think I saw is these handlers are a hosted service inside the same instance, at least on the sample, right? They don't have to be in there.
Yeah.
They clearly don't have to go in there.
Yes, I think you're correct though. In the example, that is, I believe, how they set it up.
Yeah, because they do the add kernel memory endpoints. And then where did I see it? There was a add
Right there.
handlers as hosted service, right? So if your orchestration type is distributed, that's my handlers are going to be outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
But if we go with the default handlers, this guy here, the way he wants to configure this is add handlers as hosted service. Now, I don't think we want to do this, but I am wondering if we should register up a hosted service to like this is where I'm missing something of where does this go? Add handlers as hosted service, right? Because somewhere in here, add hosted service, handler as hosted service, T handler, right? So this guy here is a thing that they have.
Mm-hmm.
This guy implements iHosted service, is a pipeline step handler. And so then this guy just shells into the orchestrator. So I'm kind of wondering if this is kind of what we are looking to do.
I think, well, I think it's an option. I think you're right though. We end up with this running as one service with multiple services.
Right. Is if we write this as a hosted service, we could extract it into a separate running container later. But at least as far as what I can tell, it doesn't look like, I don't know how much their stuff is. I'm torn between what their thing is getting me and what I want to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm a little torn on, do I leverage their stuff or do I just spin it? Because if I spin it myself and throw it into the queue and I write just a simple little console app to pull from the queue, I don't need a lot of this stuff. Do I want that is the question.
That is a good question.
Then I could .NET Aspire.
There's one, you do have the question, I think, of what would we be losing by doing that?
Yeah, like they've got this orchestrator and similar things in here that look to be doing quite a bit of work for you.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you go into those handlers, yep. We've got the regular generate embeddings handler. We've got generate embeddings handler batch, I believe is the B one there. And then we've got parallel. Or no, that's base. But parallel is going to be the
probably the more batchy one, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would suspect the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely something here that is probably worth leveraging.
I would suspect this is getting into that piece I was talking about where you're sending up multiple embeddings to process at once, and you're reducing that request response time because you're getting it all together.
Yeah, because this is, yeah, and they've kind of solved a lot of these problems. I'm kind of wondering if I should look at bringing this guy in, because there's not that much here, right? KM configuration
Yeah.
service, like, to some degree, I want some of this because this looks to be the thing that they published as a Docker image.
And I mean, functionally, we want all of it. The pieces that we want to change are those handlers and which handlers we're using. And from the looks of it, we can actually do that through configuration, which I was actually completely unaware of that ability. I mean, we still have to roll our
I
own
see what you're saying.
so that we can bring in our own DLL. But from there, we could probably just replace them through configuration as opposed to making changes in code.
Ah,
Again, I was completely unaware of that component of this.
yeah, you make a good point. So if we go that route, hang on, because that could seriously lower this. All right, so if we go kernel memory as a service,
And I think we just have to dash E those in, right?
no, we need
Or even
the assembly
do the
inside of
oh yeah.
inside
Yeah,
of the
that's true.
Docker image. So it needs to go in as part of the image that we build.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
I'm just trying to decide. So functionally, I build a separate DLL with the handler that we've already got, right?
Yep.
I am wondering then, what is the easiest way to leverage this? Because on one hand, at that point, I kind of want to just like, because here's the thing, you can volume the assembly in, right?
Yeah.
The only thing the only thing that's giving me
yeah.
the thing that's giving me pause with doing that, right? Like, this is perfectly fine for bringing in files
App
when you're running
settings,
locally.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think about how I do that inside of an Azure Container app. Because how do I get like that, and that's where I'm like, man, something, it feels very close.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you can mount like blobs and that kind of thing, which is fine.
Storage scope,
Azure files, volumes, like, this is all fine. But the thing that bothers me a little bit is that means I now have an image. I guess it means I don't need multi-stage Docker file, then do a build, then do a second stage based on this one with your DLL pulled in. Oh, I like Izzy's idea better.
Yeah. That's pretty clean.
Okay. So okay. I've only done this like once. So, but I am going to do something crazy. I am going to stash. Right? Throw that away for a moment. Let's do this. Let's go add. Stop debugging. Right? Let's add us a new project. If they are going to be, I guess we're all .NET 8, right? Like, they don't.
Yep.
Is there assembly loading stuff, so that like framework's gonna matter here? But I can do class library now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we go here, and I go here, and I go AI, and I go select folder, and we're gonna call this Kaboo bot lib, for lack of better words. Right? Go here. Now I need to pull in the kernel memory.
You need at least the service ASP.NET Core, Postgres.
Well, no, I don't think I
No,
need
you don't
those.
need Postgres.
Because all I need is whatever it's going to take, because we're not even using this guy, are we? We're using this guy.
No, we're using partitioner. Yeah.
So I'm going to copy this guy down. Paste. You need to add secrets, then a third stage, which just copies everything into a scratch image. Then no one can see the layers with the sensitive info. Izzy, you're about to become my best friend. Okay, so I think what I do here is I go like this, change namespace. So there's the assemblies I need. Microsoft kernel memory, AI, OpenAI, which I think is the top level package. I think this is the key one that is needed. If I go here, item group. Ish, do I not have my editor config in this guy? Add that to my list of to-do items. Okay, so that should clean up some of them. Okay, data formats, text, kernel memory handlers. Oh, and this doesn't have our fixes from the other one. Oops. Maybe I want some of that, but we'll fix up what you were asking for. And then
that one.
Token counter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do this. Okay, so that gets me through there. And then the question is, do I need any of that? No. What's the last red squiggle? Calculate SHA-256. That's right. This one we had to write our own
little extension.
Because they made it internal, so
yeah,
we were jerks and made it internal too. Okay, change namespace to match. Okay, so now we have this guy, and he should compile. Right? So I've got this built.
We've got our partitioner in its own library. Yep.
Okay. We got that. We got that rocking and rolling. Now we need a Docker file, and this is where Izzy's probably going to make fun of me, but that's okay. It is okay.
Don't worry. Izzy can make fun of me too, because I have no clue how to do this.
Is there a Docker beta? Oh. Okay, just give me a blank thing. I don't care. Just blank. Of course you added the CS on the end. Stop it. Stop. I understand file extensions. Knock it off. Okay, so this is where let's see. JC, quick aside, do either of you know a way to recolor an ICO? Quickly change all blues to a similar shade in orange. Ooh. Not quickly, JC, but you'll find various libraries and tools, because an ICO actually is a bunch of bitmaps at different resolutions. So it's not just one that you need to change. You actually need to crack the ICO open and fix all the pixels in all the bitmaps, which is kind of obnoxious. Paint.net has an extension for cracking open ICO files that I've used quite a bit. And the Material Design and XAML library, if you look at the demo, has a library that's Blue Wolf, I think is the name of the NuGet package. That's a C# way to do it. Yeah, do it the long way in VS. Yeah, there is almost assuredly a way. If you want to do it programmatically, you might look at the NuGet package used by the Material Design demo app, because I believe it gives you access to the bitmaps, and then you could just, find replace. But yeah, long way in VS may be the either one. I think VS only likes Docker at the container level by adding container support. Oh, I think you're absolutely correct, Izzy. I think for the built-in one, I really don't like the way the Docker file gets genned for the the other one, but yeah. Um, though I guess you make a good point. If I move it up to the solution level, I don't know where I want it. I'm gonna leave it here for the moment. Okay, so this is where I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Because because this is where this thing here, right? Because I've done this like once. And this is where things get very interesting of being able to do this. So ooh, yeah, that icon finder one. That definitely looks possible. Okay, so I think what we want to do here is we want to start like this, but then we want to go and grab where is there? I already lost the file that has published here, right? So I want to grab this guy, right? And I want to do here, and we're going to be bad, and we're going to go with latest, right? So we go there. And then let's see. So at the end of the day, then we want to copy in our assembly. I guess we don't actually care about this, do we? We don't really care because okay. I'm trying to think this through. I want to actually do my compile first, then have a layer based on the kernel memory latest. Maybe I shouldn't have done that quite yet. Give it back to me. Okay. So I kind of want to go somewhat down this situation here, right? Because I kind of want to do a little bit of this. Because this is where they get into their fancy garbage stuff. So we're gonna just steal some bits and pieces of this, right? So we want to come in here. We want to do this, and we don't want this to be here. This is going to end up being lib. This is going to end up being lib. This is going to be lib. Right? Use app host isn't going to make a lick of difference. I actually don't know what this parameter does for repo root. I might want to go look up because I'm not familiar with that one. But this is going to get it built. This is going to publish into an app.publish. Then we drop into here. Now this from here is what we don't care about, right? So this is going to end up looking more like this. Let's see. Platform comes from build platform. Okay, so that comes through here. Run image tag. Okay, so I think we go here, right? And then what we end up wanting to do is we want to copy like that. Thank you, Copilot. You've been a wonderful audience. To bring in our DLL as needed. Right? And then this is where I'm a little confused. Do I still end up having to do the entry point? I think I do. Right? Because I don't think, and I don't think I want this entry point, obviously. I think I want to come back here. Yeah, because I want theirs.
Yeah.
Where did it go? Here, 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 here. Close. Right? Because at the end of the day, this is going to be actually what I want to execute.
Yeah, because we're layering on top of that.
Hang on, wrong file. This one. Let's send it. Let's send it. See what happens. You're not useful. You're not useful either, but you're actually running.
Eesh.
Okay.
Are
So
you sure you added that to the right one?
yes,
Wait, which one are you trying to add it to? The API or the lib?
lib. API is functionally
Oh,
dead.
okay.
Just pretend it doesn't exist. It's there for reference. Right, and then we do this. I think. See,
Lib good.
and then where'd my Docker desktop go?
Publish.
Ba-ba-bum, images. I have a bunch of stuff in here. I probably shouldn't blow it all away because I'm gonna end up losing it. Oh, shut up. I don't care. And then I think we. Wow, no vulnerabilities. That's actually somewhat shocking to me. I think I end up having to look at. I think you have to actually launch it to get inside and take a look. Do that. We do that. We do that. Let's see. It does not exist. Oh, what is
So you
the
didn't.
the Docker exe, because I'm running on Alpine. Here, Copilot. Clear. Write me the Docker command to launch the image boobot with a interactive terminal when the entry point fails. Oh, is it really that simple? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the IT for interactive terminal. But then I want to change this guy here to launch into bash. So, because I want to say shh. There we go. Okay, so let's see. CD app is where I expect to find it, right? Right, so there we are. I bet you I know the problem already. I bet you the problem is they have a working directory change on theirs that we don't have on ours, and therefore it no worky. Copy from Workdir app. That's what we're missing. Because you'll note once I got inside of it, I had to CD
Into app. Yep.
IT for interactive, D for detached. The period you need to specify bin bash for entry point can then Docker attach. Cool. Thank you, Izzy.
Nice.
You see, this is what happens when you have somebody who is a Docker expert. Is that fair, Izzy? Can I call you a Docker expert?
Based on what I've seen, I'd say yeah.
I'm gonna go with yes. We'll slap that label on.
Seems like a safe assumption.
So we come here. You Copilot, you've been a wonderful audience. So sorry, I'm mildly pausing because if I set the workdir before the copy, it affects the copy. Right? So we'll copy from here into here. While we have this open, I just want to make sure that I see my thingamabobber. I am noticing
we don't see
Izzy.
We don't see the service DLL though.
Yeah, but I'm also noticing I might need to give
Oh, yeah.
Read write execute.
Permissions.
Yeah, there's potentially a permissions problem here of
yeah,
these guys needing that. Where did they tweak theirs? Did I miss this? This is
CHOwn.
Yeah, this is where, because they did that prior. to the copy. Izzy, got a session I'm putting together at the moment. Might see if I'm allowed to record it and upload it to YouTube. Ooh, please do. Please do.
Sweet.
I would happily sit through that one.
I mean, worst comes to worst, he could come on, or they could come onto the stream.
Say, Izzy, if you want to come educate me, that is definitely an option. Because there's the own, and then this is, I think this is also what we're lacking here, right? Because this is copied in, and screw it. Let's just grab the whole line real quick. This is kind of what we want. See, except for I want to.
When it replaces the one above.
Well, actually,
we'll
so
to,
here's we can make this line work perfectly if I just do this, right? Boom, there. If I set the working directory above, then period is actually the right target directory, and then bippity boppy booyah. Okay, so kernel service assembly DLL is what you were saying was missing. Microsoft. Already blanking. Kernel memory service assembly DLL. Why?
Yeah, because you've only got the AI and abstractions. I would suspect it's because you're not pulling the image.
Oh, yeah. You think that you think that's the problem? Like right here
might
where I pull the wrong bloody image? Yeah, that might be part of it.
Might be.
So
it is possible.
Yeah, so we want to actually do this guy, right? And we will do. They posted straight to Docker Hub. There's not one on Microsoft's container registry, right? Let's just double check.
Yeah, I would say let's go check.
Because if I can pull from my,
I would be almost surprised if they didn't post it to both. But
I mean, it depends. The Microsoft one is basically like only Microsoft all the time, and so
does it not include like their open source stuff?
Not often. It is very common for them not to include their open. Like if it's not a Microsoft prefix, it is not uncommon for it not to be here. So that's
fair enough.
Fine. That's fine. We can not do that. And then yeah, we'll just let that sit as is. Okay, so that might make a big difference. Let me out. That is.
You need.
Well, I can't. This is not the right tag, right? Because this is wanting run image tag of Alpine, right? Like this is no longer relevant. So we're gonna just do the bad thing again and just go latest. Hey, YOLO. For people who are curious why I'm saying the bad thing, the problem with latest is you don't have a very deterministic build. Usually you want to mark it at the version you expect. Oftentimes when people build their Docker images, they will have tags on there that look a lot like version numbers. And so you can decide, do I want the latest 8.0 version? If you just blindly do latest, it's like bleeding edge all the time. And it's a great way to shoot yourself in the foot. Generally, you want to set something in there, like even on theirs, right? They said, I want the latest 8.0 jammy. I'll take all minor and patch versions. Like, that's a little different. Okay, so I'm going to do this again, and I just want to take a look. Okay, so immediately I note that my working directory is now down here a little bit, which is nice. Let's check. I see our stuff now appears to have the same permissions as everything else. Huzzah. That looks like it'll probably be better. We now are running with the other user. Great. And then the Microsoft
kernel memory service assembly DLL. That's the one.
Hoorah. Okay, so we jump out of here. Now, for reference, I expect this to still fail. Specifically, I expect it to fail because we haven't given it the config that it wants. Okay. Text generation is not configured. Please configure the service and retry. Okay, so not shocking. So we haven't actually set up the config properly.
This is some really nice failure text.
Yeah. So setting it up.
Well, and part of this goes back to we don't need all of those endpoints. And if you remove certain ones of those endpoints, text generator won't be required. This text generator is only going to be required on your ask endpoints, and if you do like summary
the post, it looked like
summary handlers and some of the other handlers that do, it's any of the handlers that end up calling an LLM, because it's got built in, like, as part of your pipeline, you can have it summarize what's in your what's in the content of one of your embeddings, as well as do you can replace the full LLM flow into here where you're asking a question, it'll grab the embeddings, it'll actually go post that to the LLM and then respond with a full, generated text.
Izzy does comment on the versioning thing that it depends. He uses an arg in the Docker file to force the repository and tag. That way the pipeline can run multiple builds and check against the pinned and latest images. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Though I will say, which is perfectly fine. It's just generally running blind latest it can potentially be problematic. But yeah, having an arg or similar, absolutely. Okay, so the question though I have for you, Casey, is given that, right? Like I can come back over here and we can grab their config, right? So we can grab service and we can come over here and we can do service, and because we now have this whole thing. It's those docs, right? Configuration. Let's see. You quickly set up the service, run the following commands. .NET run setup. Wait. How does that work? I am confused. Sorry. This folder contains a kernel memory service. The service is composed of blah, blah, blah. Via configuration. Blah, blah, blah. Is this assuming that I can run .NET run setup inside of this?
Yeah, if you pulled down the repo. C, senor.
Oh, that's how it's able to do it. I'm like, how the heck does it work? I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's right there.
It might be that.
It might be that. And I'm assuming this is basically the same thing. Yeah. Okay. We'll look at CMD. I like it better. So it sets the environment variable and then .NET run setup, no build, no restore.
Did I just hear you correctly? You like CMD over Bash?
In general, I find it easier to read. Like I'd rather write Bash over CMD, but I'd rather read CMD. Like,
okay,
this looks funky.
That's fine. No, I'll give you that. This
isn't much better.
I much prefer to write. I much prefer to write Bash, but yeah, that's fair. CMD is kind of easier to read usually. So yeah, fair.
So I'm just trying to figure out what this thing is actually doing to gen these files so that I can just grab them without downloading them if I can help it. Does it have something? They do something funky here. Item group.
Interactive setup CSproj.
Where do you see that?
Up 4 lines, 46.
46. Oh. What did they do? What did they do?
They built all of the tooling.
PWSH for me. PowerShell now runs everywhere. Yeah, I will say this, Izzy. I do mostly like PowerShell. Aside from dealing with freaking quotes, the escaping drives me up a wall. Though I let Copilot do it now, so it's gotten better.
There's also pieces of context within, like, I still have problems with understanding what my context is in PowerShell sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb.
Holy cow! Wow. So they wrote their own CLI for every possible service. So wow. Okay, I am impressed. I am absolutely impressed. What is this readline package? I'm sorry. Hang on. Side tangent.
That's the one that catches your eye.
What is this? Like, what does it do that console readline doesn't? And brings along with it some terminal goodness you get from Unix shells like command history navigation and auto tab completion. Okay.
That's nice.
Ish. Okay. As somebody who works on system command line, this pains me, but okay.
Because it's not system command line?
It's not system command line, and I reject its premise. So aside from that, yes. Okay, so that's how it's able to do it, is because it runs all of that stuff. The short version, I might need to. Okay, let's back up. There's a couple things that need to happen. Thing one, fork. So we need this, obviously, because one of us wants to fix Swagger at some point. So I'm going to want the fork anyway.
That's fair.
Do I need it now? No. But now it gives me a way to clone this sucker down and run that script just so that I can get the config. That feels very, very heavy-handed, but you know what?
But it's also slick. It's really slick.
I mean, I will give them that. That is a significantly large amount of tooling that I was not expecting to exist. So, there's all that. Yeah. Okay. So, CD, what was it? Service, right? Service. Cat.
Can?
Well, can cat.
Can cat.
I love that. A handful of these things don't render real nice on this, but there's .NET run setup. Okay. .NET run setup. Impress me. I am waiting to be impressed. This is where I question if I missed something. File, open repo in VS Code. Oh, it did something. How should kernel memory service run and handle memory and document ingestion? Oh, it has an interactive terminal. Oh, wow. Okay. That one. Let's see. If the web service runs on a public network, it should be protected, requiring clients to pass one of two secret API keys is passing using authorization API header. Do I want API key authorization header? Yes. API key 1
will not be shown on screen. This is so freaking awesome.
Yeah, but now I have to type something without seeing it and trying to figure out what to do.
Well, I think you type it somewhere else and you copy and paste it in.
Enable OpenAPI Swagger. Yes, please. Let's see. Simple queues. We'll do simple queues for now. Directory
Mhm.
where to store simple queues. Yeah, that'll work. Where should the service store files?
Azure Blobs.
Well, hang on. I got to go look up our. Oh, sorry. I got to find the right one that has the. I don't remember my storage account. Oh, who am I kidding? I know exactly what my
Yeah,
storage
you
account
know it.
name
Come
is.
on. Come
The
on.
same thing I've been typing this entire time. The container name, current S memory. Good enough. Which service should be used to extract text from images? Is there any reason not to do this?
None.
None?
Well, you don't need it. We're not extracting text from images. We're never going to be. I
That's a
mean,
good
unless
point.
there's something new that
That's a good point.
maybe we want to bring in screen caps from the stream and want to be able to pull Mountain Dew off of a can. I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, then yes.
When importing data, generate embeddings or let the MemoryDB class take care of it.
Generate, yeah.
Yeah, we would like embeddings. When searching for text and answers, which embedding generator should be used for vector search? Azure OpenAI, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Which type of authentication do you want to use?
I think.
OpenAI endpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Model deployment name. I don't remember. What did I name my model? I know what I want. I know what I should have named my model, but I don't know if I did it. That's asking me to remember all the way back.
Model deployments.
Oh, was it right there?
Whoop, 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 to the left under resource management.
Oh, hey, look at that.
You.
Manage deployments. See, it's just going to open me into. I was getting there.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, we'll see which one.
It doesn't mean I can't hope that they've brought that to the top level instead of making you go into a different screen. But
That's true.
apparently, I'm wrong.
We were using this one, right? Because we had
See.
to give it a different name. That's right, because I got bit. Oh, I can't paste it.
Ooh, you can't. Okay, now I'm disappointed.
This is one of the reasons why. Am I spelling that correctly? Now I'm terrified. KabuBot embeddings. KabuBot embeddings. Okay.
My presumption though is at the end of this we're gonna get a configuration file and we can go and fix it manually.
That's true. When searching for answers, which MemoryDB service contains the records to search?
Postgres.
Yeah. Postgres connection string. Oh dear heavens! I am not typing that. Boo. Enter. I'm hoping we get a file we can edit later.
We should.
Let's see.
I'd be surprised if we didn't.
I think we want Azure OpenAI text chat model. Yeah.
Yep.
And then obviously we're gonna do enter ID. Didn't we just do this a second ago? I guess these could be separate. And then this is the chat model one, which is KabuBot.
It's the same things for chat. Yeah. Also, I have been summoned. I will be back momentarily.
Okay, log level warning. I'm done. I don't need you anymore. Go away.
Huzzah!
That was a lot of typing. Okay, let's go see what we got. So inside a service, I assume I now have that, a development config. Okay, so I have all of this stuff now, which is pretty cool. Don't worry, people. I'm not going to push this with that being my access key, so don't panic. Where is foo? Is it down here? There. So I need to fill in some secrets and change some connection strings. But it genned up a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to move this somewhere not here. And I'm going to go and populate those secrets really quick. Because I have my secret thing sitting off on the side. We are not going to accidentally show it on stream. That is my goal right now. Okay, and then we're going to go change those access keys to be something different. Well, I suppose right now it doesn't really matter. They aren't public. We'll do that for now. Do that. Okay. Now I have that. And now I would like to bring that config over because I think I want to just pull that thing straight in. I don't know if there's a big reason not to. So yeah, where did I want this page again? So we could volume mount this, but I think the easier thing to do, because it just wants the file sitting inside of app. And I think I'm going to just make a copy of this file, rename it prod, and then ship it as prod, I think. Oh, I just realized I told it I wanted to do Entra ID, and I'm inside of a container. That's going to be interesting. How do I do managed identity across? How do I think I have to do and pull the Azure CLI or similar inside the container, then log in with a non-interactive model. Yeah, this is blah blah blah. Yuck. Because I assume internally the libraries are probably just using the Azure Identity NuGet package to do all of their work. Which makes sense. It can read from a number of sources, one of which is environment variables. But I don't know how to authenticate Entra identity. Maybe I should have authenticated with see I can do it inside a container group and in Azure easy enough. I don't know how to do it inside of my local Docker instance. Oh. Okay, so they gen an access token, strip it out, and then pass that in. Ah, ha, ha. That might be a workaround. That might be a workaround. Yuck, 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 yuck. I let's see, blog documentation. Let's because the ones they were setting up, the thing that bothers me with this is pulling a client client ID and secret out of, in this case, environment variables to be able to read it, which is fine when you control it, but I want to ultimately set the Entra IDs. Which means not doing it that way. This might end up being a bigger pain than I thought. Because I can assign an identity. I can pull the identity, but all of this is inside of this. Identity access. Yeah, see, this is authenticate with token. I think this is the way you generally work around this. Yeah. Is this gens a token? Create token, specify scope. Scope map, AC. These are ACR tokens. I guess what do I really need the authentication token for? It's just gonna need to talk. Let me go and look and see how this config is set up over here. You know what? Let me do this. Let me dupe this file and then just copy, paste, rename this one to production, and then development one, I'm going to go and strip my secrets out of. And then then we can look at that one on screen and find where this thing goes. That looks wrong. That. I'm looking for my. Okay. So the development one does not have secrets in it. Okay, so what is it actually needed for? Simple queues, Postgres, because it's going to need it to access all of the services that are out there. Azure AI Search, Azure Identity. So it wants to use Azure Identity. Yeah, so let's real quick just fix that out in Azure. Get me out of here. I want out of here and I want to be back here. Me in. So here I want to go back to my resource group. I want to go to my container app environment. Nope, that's my container app. I guess we can go here. Right, system assigned identity on, save. Yep. So give me a managed identity. And then we can turn on. Oh, come on. Save Azure. Thank you. And then we can go to authentication. Okay, fine. We'll configure ingress. Ingress enabled. Limit client certificate. Sure. Why do I feel like I'm missing a save button? Does that one literally just save? Okay. What am I missing? Target port 9001. There's all we were needing. Then we want to put authentication on it. Come on. Turn on the ingress controller. Come on. There you go. And we go here. Go here. And we go here. And this is going to... Oh, this isn't quite what I wanted. Back sucker up. Let's block. Limited to container app environment. Applies if internal setting is set to false. We're gonna let things in. And 1 second, I'm gonna just move this. I think I want to put my IP address on here and just allow Traffic from IPs configured below. Add. And then ipchicken.com is a wonderful website when you want to find your public facing IP. Boom. Add. Deny all other traffic. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so that should give me an ingress that I can hit. And let me in. Okay. That gets me to there. That gets me to there.
I have returned.
Welcome. Okay, so I realize there's a
What'd I
small.
miss?
I'm an idiot.
I doubt that, but okay.
So small hang up is I don't know how to run this locally and authenticate inside of a container. Because we selected Microsoft Entra ID, right? Or Azure AD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem I have now is I don't know how to get my Azure identity inside of my container without jumping through some hoops.
Mm-hmm.
A much simpler solution is I just configure my container app environment and I send it.
Okay.
I think that's the path of least resistance. It's annoying and forces me to push and all of that garbage, but at least I can do that. Because
all right, fair enough.
Or I have to jump through some hoops for like taking my AZ login, genning a token, slapping that in as an environment variable or similar on mine, setting up the tenant ID and all of that stuff. Set the network of the container. I don't think that works, Izzy, for Azure Identity. Because the problem. Because that'll route the traffic through my local machine, but it won't. Yeah, feature request, this thing. Yeah, if they're using default Azure credential, there's not an easy way of doing it because the identity thing searched through like half a dozen different items, and I think the easiest thing is to have like that shared cache or similar. Ooh, let's see. Okay, yuck. So this guy's just bringing in the Microsoft Azure CLI, and in his Docker Compose, he mounts his local .azure directory. And the code sets up auth with, yeah, and so he's cheating the system by making sure that Azure CLI credential is enabled. Yeah. Which is the same as you, but I check out the CLI install script into my dev container. It's a one-liner. Yuck. I'm gonna just pin this on my read thing. Maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. Because if it really is just this, let's look at his dev container real quick. Let's look at his dev container. In a container. Yep. And again, I'm making an assumption of how they're using it internally. But most things that say Azure Identity, they're going to be referencing Azure Identity internally and then referencing it across. If you will install, you'll be required to AZ login in the container. To have the container honor your host machine's AZ login, then you need to expose this all the way through here. So this is actually a fun experiment. If anybody wants to see a sample of this, there's an open source here. Spoiler, I can show this off. I can show this off too. So if anybody wonders how Velopack stores your creds when you log in, we're using the same thing that where is it? It's inside of Flow auth configuration. We're using the same stuff that the Azure CLI does for storing your authentication tokens. Build public app async. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. I only wrote the code. That doesn't mean I actually remember where I wrote it. This guy here. So when you build the public client application and you acquire tokens, you can actually store it in there locally. So if anybody's interested. Hey, survival. So right now we are using kernel memory basically to make we'll call it a GPT clone of myself, and trying to figure out how to properly host this in Azure. That's the two-liner version. As soon as I go back to here, you're interested. Basically this.
Yeah.
Basically this with a small tweak where we just throw away one bit of it and put in our own little handler in the middle. And it proves that it is slightly more complicated than one would hope for.
But also quite a bit more powerful than one would expect.
Yeah, that is true. So this is all the Kubernetes. Here's how you run it with one line in Dockerfile. So this is just going to pull down this, and then if we mount the volume as part of this, we can then bring it in. Okay. Well, why not? Let's give it a shot. It can't hurt anything, right?
And this is all because you want to be able to test locally. Yeah.
Correct. Because I need it to be able to run as me out in Happy Land. So let me
out in Happy Land.
I mean, that's the way it works. So hang on 1 second. Let me make sure I am actually logged in.
As the right one.
As the right account,
as the right you.
As the right version of me, because obviously I want to be the best version of me. And so
there are a few versions of you.
Yeah.
It would be hard to define which one is best though.
Yeah. Pro tip, AZ login with -- use device code works really well when you've got a lot of browser sessions and you want to make sure the right browser session gets used.
It is the greatest.
It's my favorite thing in the world. Because then I can pick on the browser that I want rather than it just grabbing the last one and inevitably picking the wrong one. Because that's what it does. Survival, where are you at that it's so hot? Like, I mean, it's been somewhat hot over here in Washington, but
hot today. That would say it's daytime over there.
So let's go Germany.
Mediterranean?
It's gonna be somewhere around GMT. Let's see here.
Let's play the guess where survival is game.
I guess actually it maybe go further east than Germany, because if it's already warm to the heat of the day, I'm thinking noon.
Yeah, it's midnight here. India's 12 hours from here, or 12 and a half hours from here. So yeah, somewhere around the same
time zone of India.
Longitudinal. Yeah.
Okay, so I am now logged in properly. My AZ login has successfully done the needful. And then over here, what that means is I want to Docker build this guy again. So he should now have the same Azure CLI. And then when it runs, I want to mount my local Docker image. All right. So then, yeah, because these guys don't necessarily show it because they're using Docker Compose to do this. But it's going to be the same command as the. Okay, closing that. Don't need you. Don't need you. Don't need you. Need you. All right, it's the same command as this one here for the volume mount. So I'm going to need to mount that in the same way, at the same path as here, right? Because it wants to mount. And this is doing root.azure, but I don't think I actually want to run as root.azure because we have a secondary user that we're running as. I'm surprised they don't just do tilde here. I would have expected that's the appropriate location, but what do I know? I'm an idiot. Let's see. Failed to solve, did not complete successfully. Oh, curl probably doesn't exist inside of the
Container. Yeah. The good old limited Alpine containers.
Yeah. What
Oh,
is
yeah.
Alpine's? Is it wget?
I think so.
Hang on. Wait, I got this. Hey, Copilot. Update this to work on Alpine Linux. Impress me, Copilot. Impress me.
I feel like it doesn't need to replace the entire file, but sure.
More importantly, it didn't
APK update. Maybe that'll work.
Okay. I don't like it because it's also gonna. Okay, we're gonna do this differently. Because what is it? Is it that? I think, and then that, and then that, and then that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. I don't remember. That's not the right.
Nope.
Oh, it's not that. No, this is PowerShell. Hang on. See, this is the PowerShell infects things and then makes you do stupid stuff.
Also, why I like Bash over PowerShell. I mean, before we were talking about CMD, but also PowerShell.
Yeah. Like I will say, learning lots of technologies gives you an appreciation of different things. It also occasionally makes you hate things. Let's see. Bash did not complete successfully. Oh, because Bash isn't there either. Dang nabbit. You are not making this easy, Docker. Or I guess in this case, Alpine's the one to blame. Like I get it. Just like
it's a love-hate relationship with Alpine. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's how I've always felt about Alpine.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break this sucker up. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I want to see which one of these layers is hosing me.
Screwy. Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's
my suspicion is the latter at this point. But
yeah. Actually, time to go grind a new axe before the end of my half day, and then off on holiday. See you in 2 weeks. Sounds good, Izzy.
Nice.
Actually, not in 2 weeks. 2 weeks stream is canceled due to me moving, but I will be here next week. Let's see here. Did that give me any progress? Oh. Air failed. Oh, permission denied. So, pro tip, if you scroll up and read the error message,
it helps.
See you in 3 weeks. Yeah, so 2 weeks canceled. 3 weeks is a maybe. My office is being like it doesn't exist at my new house yet. I have to build it. So it'll depend on how quickly I build an office. So hopefully back in 3 weeks, but the 3 is a maybe at the moment. Okay. Screw this. I think that's the right command. And honestly, you know what we could do? Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. wget. Let's just okay, see, now we're making progress. Right? So if I wget this sucker, what do I get back? Okay, so that is not quite what I want. I would like to dump it out. Let's see, where is header string post data string post and file using post continue retrieval quiet dash s show server response. I think that's what we're going for. Cannot open file exists. You are lovely. Oh, save to file. So we actually want that. Yeah. And then, okay, so if I do this, pipe to sh, what happens? App-get not found. Okay, so what is it?
Wait.
APT?
Yeah.
Probably sudo not found. Just
I reiterate, love-hate relationship with Alpine.
yeah, okay. Back to the other option. Screw this. Push to Azure.
It was worth a
Push
journey.
to Azure.
Yes.
I think is the new mantra that we're going with.
Test and prod. Test and prod.
Prod. Yes, we will test. Oh, I am like 2 levels deep in my things. Okay. So that also means that I need to get my file embedded inside of here. Right? Because this copy thing that we have here, I need to copy in my config. So I have 2 configs from my clone, right? Here and here. You're going to copy. We are going to apparently not paste because that would be useful. How about here?
No paste for you.
Okay. VS Code, you are losing my trust. Give me an Explorer window, please, and give me these 2 files. Thank you. Have a nice day. We are coming over here. We are going paste. Now, I have made these 2 files. Development is a copy of prod with all of my keys removed. So when we open these, we open the development one, not the prod one. Right?
Wise.
Yeah, that's the game plan. So we want to copy, and this guy is going to be, let's see. So we are going to copy ./app settings .production.json. I think we want to keep all of that I don't think we, whatever. We're going to keep them all. And we are going to copy this into dot because that's where they were mounting them, I believe, right? Because they were mounting them right inside their app directory. So I think that's where we want it. Yep.
Yeah, because we've already swapped work directory. So yeah.
We do that. Now I should have a config in here. Let's see. Build compute checksum. Oh, because I am. Do I have a work directory change? I do have a working directory change. So I guess we can actually grab it from here, can't we? We should be able to go from here. Oh, hang on. I think I just have the order of these out of order.
Yeah.
I need that. Failed to calculate checksum. Am I just being dumb?
Isn't that the same thing?
Yes, it should be. Okay. It should also be in the build one as well. Because if I go from there, I'm just wondering if I'm getting hosed by this. If I go from here, it should actually be in that from the root of the build layer. Okay.
All right, feels better.
Let's see. Hold on.
Wowzers.
Yeah. So, what did I do wrong here? So, lib dockerfile preprocessor directive. So it tried to compile the Docker file. What?
Wait a second.
I'm very, very confused at the moment.
Copy from build.
Let me just confirm something real quick. That guy commented out. We build, right? Let's just back to where I think I started before I got so confused. I've broken something and I don't quite know what. Did not complete successfully. This thing does build, right? Just I'm sorry, what? What the heck? Visual Studio. What the heck? Let's just okay. Okay, so a pro tip, if you try to compile a Docker file as a C# file, it don't work. Don't do that.
I like how it removed it first and then added it back.
Well, it removed it from the none set, which is the one that says don't compile it, and then added it to the compile set, which is the please compile this for me. It's like,
and in what world did we want that?
It probably showed up at one point when I added it, because I added it as a C# file, so it probably got brought in there. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that was probably the catalyst for it. But still, no. Okay. Try this one more time, and then we launch it and we see it work, and then we push it and we see it run, and everyone's happy, and the world is a wonderful place. At least we'll see if we get that far.
It's magic.
Build to calculate checksum. App settings production.json is not found. I really doubt that. Oh, hang
So
on.
yeah. Eh?
When we copy the
Yes.
repo into the build layer, we're copying it into the src directory. So the JSON file should live inside of src slash, not inside of root slash.
Yeah. Maybe.
Or maybe I'm just an idiot. All are possible.
So wait, but it wouldn't be at the SRC level, it'd be at the SRC Ebo bot lib
yes.
level.
Why do you have to be right all the time?
No, I'm not all right all the time. I'm right seldom. Every single time's a win for me.
Okay. Didn't we say something earlier about Docker and pathing problems? Wasn't that
so.
The fun part? Okay.
Docker and pathing, Alpine,
Hoorah!
PowerShell.
We have.
That's good. Not quite liftoff, but we've got staging. It's in the staging.
I just want to see it.
Area.
Okay.
That looks like an app settings.
That does look like an app settings. Okay, so we have this. Now I need to push to my container registry.
Yes.
Now I'm pretty confident if I just do this, it's not going to work. But if I do,
you haven't associated it to your
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember what is the magical incantation? Let's see.
Docker tag, Docker.
Right.
Something,
the
Docker
commands to push, to build and push to my ACR named. Yeah. ACR login. See, I knew that I was missing something in there. Hey, thank you, Copilot. You're a wonderful helper. Log in. Login succeeded. Okay. Build the Docker image using I
am unfamiliar with the build X.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need it. But look, it has very helpfully linked it for you. When you click it, it does nothing, which is really
control click,
which is really convenient.
Oh, yep, nope. It does nothing.
Yes, but the important thing here is this is what I was looking for. Is something more akin to this. So thank you. Now go away, Docker. So we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna do something like we're just gonna multi-tag this sucker. So I'm gonna do like this. We'll do a second one where we do none of this stuff. Yeah. And this is going to be, and then we're going to do, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, send it.
Oop.
Denied request. Requested access to. Oh, I bet you I don't have access to my own ACR. Because why would you expect access to your own ACR?
Yeah.
let's see. So access control, view my access. Yeah. So
Oh,
I have
yeah.
access to the control plane, but not the ACR push. Frankly, yeah, let's just do that.
Oh.
1 second. I want to do this real quick so I don't accidentally expose other people's things. Like members.
Wise.
Kipin is my name today. Which account am I using? I will use that one. Select. Review and assign. Review and assign. Thinking. Okay. So I now have role assignment. View my access. ACR push.
The push.
Now we send it. Access to resource denied. Great. Let's try this one more time. Make sure I don't just need a different auth token. Push. Okay, let me just check and make sure we aren't
Private. Public good.
all networks. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. Public network access, all networks. Let's see here. So that gives me there. ACR push. What else am I missing? I do know that occasionally permission changes can take a slight while to propagate. It's possible I just might need to be patient and repeatedly hit up arrow enter. Gonna make sure I'm not missing anything obvious. AZ login, check. ACR login, check. You can also log in. Both commands returning login succeeded. So I should be able to confirm my login this way as well. Right? And this becomes... Oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a bad idea. So I should have...
Push an image.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
I? No, I don't. So I should be able to just send it. Requested access to the resource is denied. But I don't want to be denied. Let's see. Is there comment on how long this takes?
Well, if there is, you might want to go to like the security and authentication section.
Where do you see that? My
yep, down.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't
maybe
think...
not. Our authentication there. Authy.
Oh, public network access. Is that... settings.
But you looked at network and you had public. All networks.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
there.
I was wondering if there were settings at that.
Oh,
area,
I wonder, do I
too.
need to get... Oh, I bet you, hang on. I wonder if it is... when you tag this, needing to give it...
Oh.
No?
No.
Okay. because I was wondering if it was lacking the repository
Yeah.
name to go along with it. Was theory 1. I guess this one claims well, let's try this. I'm honestly not remembering the difference, so I wonder, is it because I've double tagged this?
The tag needs to be.
Got it. Solution. Don't apply both tags with the -- push option because then it tries to send both of them rather than just the one.
Hmm.
So I need to separate up the building and the pushing if I wanted to do it that way.
Double tag. Yeah.
So that works. Though I suspect I still needed the permissions change to give me push access.
Oh yeah, you definitely needed the permission. Yeah, you needed the permissions changed regardless. But
So then once this comes up over here, we should be able to come over and do, as I find the right thingamabobber. All right,
window.
so we're gonna go there. I don't want you. So this guy, go back here because there's my container registry. Oof, that guy exists. That guy exists. Great. Come over
Beautiful.
here. Containers. We're gonna edit you. You are going to let's just delete. At least one app container is required. Don't worry. What? Back out then. How? I just wanted to add a new container. Create new revision. Because it's scaled up, isn't it? Yes. I thought there was. Oh, because this is a particular container app. Hang on, I want to back up. I want to go to the container app environment. And I would like to spin a new app. Because I kind of want to just kill this app off. Yeah, you die. I don't want to think about you. Oh, this will. I don't want to delete the environment. Fine. Fine. You are annoying and I reject your premise. I will just spin a new app from the environment. Let's see here. Yeah, apps, create container app. You will now be called MyBot because I am too lazy to think of it. Bring your own container registry, blah, 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 blah. That is our environment. We are going here. Our registry will be that one. Our image will be because admin credentials. Oh, that's right. I hate you so much. This is an annoying thing that I absolutely abhor. Back. Next.
Yeah, at least it doesn't make you refresh the page.
Yeah, so we go there, we go there, we go there. We do this, we do this, we do this. We go next. Bindings. We don't need any bindings. Do I turn on the ingress? Yeah, sure, why not? Send it. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it all. Target port 9001. View and create. Send it.
And now I'm getting excited.
Don't get excited. I predict
Oh,
it
I'm getting
fails
excited.
immediately. And I predict that based on the fact that even though I created an identity for my Azure Container App environment, I have not granted it permission to do darn anything. So I'm probably going to need to grant it permission to like Azure OpenAI at a minimum. Like, I'm kind of suspecting that that's going to be a thing, right?
See, and while I agree with you, I think that's only once we send in a file.
Oh, you think
I think it'll
start on
run.
its own?
I don't think it. Yeah, it doesn't confirm access until you actually try to
That's
request.
fair.
I suspect.
Or it could die
Ooh.
on site.
But is it for the reason you suspect? That's my question now.
Let's see. Successfully connected. Blah blah blah. Azure OpenAI config
God.
validate.
Wait.
Endpoint must start with HTTPS.
That's the config wasn't in there. That's not that the
No,
the
I
service
think
didn't have, or the
config's-
identity didn't have
yeah,
access.
I think that the config it just needs to be adjusted. So we're gonna look here on the development one, right? So it's complaining about which one is it unhappy at? Azure OpenAI endpoint must start with HTTPS. Okay, so Azure OpenAI endpoint. Oh, I think it actually wants these things to not just be the name, but to be the fully qualified. Oh, so when it asked,
Probably.
oh, so on that wizard, when it was saying the things that it wanted me to type the whole bloody URL out. Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm wondering though, because I remember specifically on at least one of them, I was looking at that and thinking, oh, nice. It's just the name because they put the
URL around it.
HTTPS, insert this,
correct.
Dot, blah, blah, blah.
Correct. Yes. That's
and maybe it wasn't the OpenAI ones, but I thought I know at least one of them was like that. Or at least it said it was like that. Whether it actually executed that way, I make no guarantees.
It's got the endpoints behind a clicky thing, so I just want to check them.
Yep. Always wise to do that.
Okay. It is safe to show. Okay, so I think we need this.
Yeah.
And I think we
tend to agree.
I think we need this here and here.
Yep.
Right?
I would suspect so. And I'd also just scroll. Let's see if we can find one that has the full URL. Not Mongo.
Well, the problem is most of these looked like they weren't fully filled out because we didn't elect to use those options.
We'd at least have the storage container, and we'd have SQL Server. Or not?
No, and the
Postgres.
the Postgres. This is the development one. I have intentionally stripped out my Postgres connection string because yes, it is the fully qualified, and yes, it has the username and password in it. So not sharing that.
But you did replace that in the production one already?
Yes.
Because we did the whatever the default they gave us was. Where's storage account then? Azure Blobs.
So this just asked for the account and the container. So I think it must be going through the SDK for it rather than fully qualified.
So then that would make me suspect that this endpoint for Azure OpenAI embeddings or any of them doesn't have to be .openai.azure.com.
Well, but
can you host it under a different
I think it's just specifically saying it wants HTTPS. The other alternative is it could be empty string, right? Maybe it failed to read the config.
Yeah.
That's possibility B, right? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to drag that sucker off screen real quick while I open up the relevant files and just do a quick replacement because I just don't want to accidentally scroll too far and show the wrong file and then have to go cycle keys again.
Yeah,
that's really exciting. And interesting. So I'm going to drag this in just to show you. A real quick scan my screen to make sure I don't accidentally expose anything. Okay. So I noticed this, and I fixed this on the development one. I think when I tried to paste, That's the problem with those console
Oh.
libraries. They don't play nice with stuff like this. And it bothers me. I fixed
So
it on the development
wait,
side and I
what was that character?
low level ASCII. I'd have to go pull it up, but
Hmm,
X
weird.
16. So yeah, so that no bueno. Okay, so now we go back over here. We do this whole thing again. I don't think this is actually relevant. We rebuild, we relaunch, and then I think I can just do the equivalent of kill on this thing to get it to relaunch the replica once it pushes out. Because I'm somewhat tempted to actually version this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I should version it, but whatever. We'll see if I can kill this replica. Restart. Are you sure we want to restart this revision? Continue. I think that gets me off to the races. Refresh. Activation failed. Go to revision management. Go replicas. Create no revision. Oh, I don't actually want a revision of this. I just want a new instance. Containers. No volumes. How do I'm trying to remember where the button is for this. Where I might want to put actually push version numbers up so I can actually tell when I'm switching properly.
Yep.
Let's do that real quick because I don't think that'll take long to push a version change. 0.0.1. How many numbers will we get? Okay. Now, if I go here, I should be able to edit this guy here.
Mhm.
There, save, create. Then I should see it spin up. And you, I should be able to kill. Remember the magical incantation to kill off the old one. Refresh. Fail. Well. Active. Active. Just a bunch of logs, darn it. Show me your logs. Make a log stream. Let's see. KM service. Access key 1 is too short. Use at least 32 characters. That is probably because I did not configure a KM service key. Therefore, it is almost guaranteed too short. So let's take a look.
I thought you had to type it in as part of oh.
KM collections shouldn't be it. Where, you know what it's going to be called inside of here?
No. What did that? What did it say what did the log say again? Go back to that.
Let's see. Kernel memory web service access key 1 is too short.
Yeah. So you did enter these. These are those two API keys that you chose.
Right, but I didn't make them 32 characters long. It didn't tell me I had to make them
That is
32
accurate.
characters long.
I agree. That is definitely missing. It did not say that there was a minimum length.
Okay, so hang on. Me and Bitwarden here need to have a quick chat about generating Crank that length up to 32 characters. Copy. And then I'm going to move this off real quick because we need to make you. Okay, at least we're slowly making progress.
We're getting there.
I need to change my keys. Where are they? Where are they? We are. Access key 1. Gen. Copy. Access key 2. There. Okay, so 2 access keys have been generated. Bitwarden.
Beautiful.
Rinse, repeat. Try again.
New version. Yep.
Go, go, go. Container apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this will probably be nice if and when it actually deploys. But there is a little bit of setup here.
Yeah.
Though I feel like this might be a nice sample at some point for somebody of, hey, you want to replace just one handler? Here's how you can do it. Here's how you can deploy into Azure. Okay. Back to here. Bring you back onto screen. And we go back to here. We go create. Nope. I did the same thing again. So I go here. Containers. Edit, deploy. Here. Find the stuff. Find version 2. Save. Create. And we should have a new one here. That will show up imminently. This guy's being deprovisioned. Don't quite know how to kill this guy off at the moment. And refresh. Oh! Casey! It's green.
And what did we have to change? Configuration. It didn't need no access.
It concerns me that this error is still showing.
But
well, hold on. That could be.
I don't think. I think the logs are wrong. Yeah. Go to.
Okay,
yeah,
so hold on. It's
view.
It's finally deprovisioning the old ones now that it's got a good one.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Show replicas. Sure. This guy here. Console log string, view details. It's up. It's up, Casey. It is up.
Huzzah.
It is up.
Huzzah.
Now.
Look at this. Look at that beautiful like startup too. Like all that good logging. That's
Okay,
nice.
so if I go here, right, and I hit this.
Yes.
And I go, container app doesn't exist. Yeah, shut up. If I do this, no. But it has
Do you
a
need port?
health.
Do you need the port?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Not there at least. But you are correct that I might need to configure the ingress into it. Where's my ingress?
Ingress. There you go.
Allow all traffic. Oh, limited to
149,000.
container app environment. That will be a problem without that.
Yeah. And it does specify your target port there, so you should be
Yeah,
good.
I added that when I set up the ingress before. So this guy is technically going to go public here for a moment.
Ooh.
And then we might lock that sucker
Scary.
down because, you know.
Well, actually, API key? API key? What? Oh, felt good. I'm not going to lie to you.
Health checks up. Health checks up.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's working.
It's running. I know. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. That was a lot of effort for one very, very small thing.
Yes. But It's not one small thing.
It is kind of.
Because this, no, it's not one small thing. Because now we can build something else that can target this. And it's not running locally. It's a thing. This is a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing. So.
It's a thing.
Okay.
Don't kill this.
Okay. So we got this going. Okay. So hold on. I want to do a couple things before we get too carried away. One, I want to come over here and I want to add new item. Where's like the just text file? readme.markdown. All right, we're gonna slap notes. Okay.
Newts.
Stop adding extra ticks for me. Let's see. So AZ login. Or actually, hang on. Let's just do this. CLI.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do this maneuver.
Yeah.
Okay. AZ login. AZ ACR login.
Just tab it.
Freaking
knows.
Copilot. I'm gonna change
It
this to
knows.
be version. Okay. Just so that I don't lose track of what we have done.
No, this is wise. This is something I often forget to do, and then I deeply regret it later.
No,
this is
future
wise.
Kevin is gonna hate me if I don't do this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Future Casey often hates past
Okay,
Casey.
so
yeah.
Yeah, so we've got this, we've got this. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. I don't actually want a lot of this stuff here. Platform being used anywhere. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Not gonna make a difference. Yeah, so this is wanting that. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Okay. So got all of that. That pushes that up. That pushes that up. Okay, so let's see here. Config is stored in app settings dot production dot JSON. App settings dot development dot JSON contains the same data without the keys. So the key thing here, though, pun intended, is I cannot check the file in. Right? I have set myself up for failure.
This is true.
So not gonna do that. Okay. But
Wise.
But we can now go let's see. Solution Explorer. Boom. Right, why are you not just docked to this side like a sane human robber? Oh. How do it know to not commit those?
Because it's smart.
Were those already in my get ignore? I guess it doesn't show a delta to my get ignore. I'm just okay.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet when you built the project they were in there, because you never want to put in app settings.jsons.
No, you do. You
Like
generally
that.
do check them in.
Not the production one. Not any of the
Sure you
extra
do.
ones.
You always check them in because they
Really?
shouldn't contain secrets. Like in general, you shouldn't put
Then-
secrets in them. That's what. But hold on.
But yes, you shouldn't, but people often do.
Oh, look at that.
But you do make a good point.
I literally
Get ignores for C#. Oh no, that's the end of the C# one. You put it in.
This is okay. That's apparent. Past Kevin was brilliant. Knew that future Kevin was going to be dumb. So that's convenient.
Past Kevin's a really nice guy.
Okay. So what do we want to build then? Just a little CLI app that hits this?
I mean, shoot, we could just hit it with Postman. I mean, as long as our endpoint that doesn't require file upload
Well, but
is
the
good to
thing
go, and
is,
even if it does, you can do that with
what are
Postman
we going to
too.
hit it with? Like, I guess I can send my file up, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
1 second. I might need to change my authentication account here. I don't know what account I'm signed into Postman with at the moment.
Yeah.
Stand by. Oh, I am in a empty state at the moment. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Also, you should probably drag that off screen and then make an environment variable for your API key so that you don't have to do that later.
I think I spin my collection first, don't I? Right, and then I use because
I think you can do it either way.
yeah, I
But
was like, because usually you can either do it as an environment or as a collection. And I was going to
yeah.
propose. Yeah, let's go here. Create environment. Bot prod. Right. Auth header key. Type secret. Drag that off.
Yep.
Drag this off so I can open it, because that would be real convenient. And I am going to just paste that in, and then I'm going to clear it off my clipboard so that it is not pinned anymore. Okay. There. Okay, so I've got auth header key, right? And then here I want to do
Beautiful.
this, and I want to, where's the add request, right? So we're going to do a post. I'm trying to think of what's the easiest way to get my API signatures. Not a clean way to send that header in a browser to hit Swagger. The only weird thing.
Yeah.
Isn't there a way to generate these from a API, open API spec?
Yeah, I believe so. Generate tests.
Postman generate from
No.
open API. Let's see. Postman Learning Center. That sounds like integrate Postman with a blah 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 to import. Select import on in the sidebar. You can choose to upload a file folder or enter a URL. Right. So here's the question. Where is the import?
Collection level. Drop down for the collection down. Yeah, that guy.
I have export.
Wait. Go to your new collection on the tab bar on the above the new request. To the right, to the right.
Oh, the big import button
Wish
right
you
there.
could see my mouse. Well, I actually wasn't even thinking that, but yes, that's exactly what I was talking
correct.
about.
Yeah.
Easy. Come
on.
Yeah.
The problem is I need my URL, and this thing doesn't appear to allow for. Well, let's see if we can.
Or you could just.
Let's see.
You can also just pull the file, right? Because you can get there yourself.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know if I can. Right? See, so if I go here.
Is the Swagger behind? Oh yeah, the Swagger would be behind
see, I can do. This may not.
You do health, but you can't do Swagger.
Well, let's find out. Oh, look at that. Okay, we're good. Because I can hit this, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost like somebody thought of this already. Yeah, sure, fine. Make it so. Okay. That was so much easier. Okay, so we want to upload. I want to go here. I want to have a header. I want to have a authorization header. Right, go to authorization. And it wants the value that I put in here.
Bot rod.
Right, so I go here. Oh, you should save your value, otherwise it probably doesn't work. It's still unhappy. Make sure the variable is the active. Select an environment as active. There we go. Okay, so we got an environment.
Beautiful.
That in theory is going to get populated. We think that's the right place. Can we just
Yes.
do a get to make sure? Is there an easy way to do this? Let's just send this.
I don't. Maybe.
Error
I don't think
invalid
that'll
URL.
have.
So base URL is incorrect. That
Sure.
is not shocking.
Yeah.
So if we go here and I do this and I do base URL, right? And then we can come back over here and I can grab this, right? Which is going to change every time. But then I can go here because I really just want to get something that gets me past. Right? Results, name, default. Okay. So auth appears to work. Base URL appears to work. Okay.
Beautiful.
Progress.
Yep.
Progress.
Yes.
Okay. So close. Let's see. Okay, so if I go here and I go upload, right? So this has here, and then what do I send up on the post? Because I don't remember what it actually is looking for. Do you know?
Binary?
Oh, hang on. We take a look at the service core. We can see what it's registered as on the post. Let's see. It grabs the request, and what does it do with it? Bind HTTP request, input, upload request. No, .NET doesn't yet support binding multi-part forms, including data and files. I'm confused by this comment because I do it in Velopack. So that surprises me.
Blame it. How old is it?
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. What is the age of this? 6 months ago? I mean, it was
6 months ago?
newish, but
yeah,
not
specifically that line.
Not that new. Okay, so we may have to look at this, but it is looking for an upload request is valid in error message. Boy, I wish it showed me. Why am I asking what it looks like? Didn't I clone this repository?
You did.
Okay, so if we come here and we come here, like why am I being stupid? Right? If I come down here, I should then be able to say, show me this class. Why did you add a U? Okay. Why does control clicking add a U?
Because you have U highlighted.
I want to navigate to definition. Why is this hard? Public class, upload request. Okay, index, document ID, tags, steps, files. Oh, so it wants a big sucker.
Oh, wow.
It wants a very big thingy mabobber. This feels like something yucky to build. I mean, we certainly can do this. Pipeline steps to execute. By default,
That's kind of nice.
it's going to do them all using custom handlers to implement bespoke flows, send emails, write to DBs, etc. That's cool. And then files to upload. This is where we're going to need to do multi-part form files, which is
Or
fine. Go ahead.
Possibility here. We could also just do the give a file name endpoint do its own thing.
We can't actually.
Why not?
Because we no longer own the service. Right? Like, remember what we built down, what we actually built. We just built a why is that off? That's right, I put off the screen.
No, you're right.
We
You're
only
right. You're right.
built the lib, so we don't actually
Yeah.
own the whole thing. We also haven't actually referenced our thing yet either. So you know there's that. So we've embedded our DLL, but nothing's referencing it. So we don't actually, like, we've done all this work, but
Yeah,
we
that's
haven't actually
true.
brought in our parser thingy-mabobber yet. Right? But the idea being that we should be able to control it with the config.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So, and we've got the auth set up. Like I can kind of, from this we can build the request, right? Like this is multi-part form
It's
data.
just ugly.
It's just
Yeah.
uglier than I'll get out to build.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I guess, not terrible though, because okay, so if we go to Postman, right? Form URL encoded. This is going to be files, right? And this, because that's the name of this guy, right? And then we want to yeah, maybe I don't like this. Maybe I want to go here. Go files. Then I want this to be a file, and then I want to select a file. Select a file from local machine. And then I'm going to go to we're going to grab our tiny file because we can do that. All right, we go here, pick on this file. Okay, there's that. I think that's actually all we need to send.
Really?
Well,
we don't need document ID?
oh, I guess we should
put like document ID
and index. But do I need to, were we specifying that previously?
The index,
because when we did this before,
yeah, we were identifying at least document ID and index, or there's a default index and it's ours.
Let's see, because you're right, ID was GUID new GUID, so tools create GUID. What I heard was copy, and so we need ID paste, right? So there's, oh, I guess that needs to be document ID. Document ID, great. That gets me there. And then index where to store the data uploaded. What do I send for an index?
So I believe that the default is default.
Oh, I guess we actually know that because we queried it and we pulled it back. So the default is in fact default. Yeah. So okay. Fire in the hole. Okay, progress. Now we are failing with managed identity.
Now we are.
Let's see. Default Azure credential, we failed, blah, blah, blah. Environment variables are not fully configured. See the troubleshooting guide, blah, 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 blah. So, let's see. Workload identity, managed identity. Can't be accessed. Azure CLI not installed. PowerShell not installed. So, these ones we don't expect to work. Let's see. Environment credential authentication unavailable. I don't think that's the one we want. Let me real quick, because I do this on Velopack. Let me look at what that is. And the beautiful part about Velopack is I'm not worried about exposing my secrets. You know why?
Because they're all in
Because
a key vault.
they're not somewhere where I can accidentally expose them.
Wise.
It'd make me
Very,
make
very
me very,
wise.
very happy. Okay. Coverage report, build, database migration, auto merge, get environment variables. Okay, secret reader identity. I have to specify in I did user assign managed identity. Communication service, app insights. This does not give me what I want. I want deploy container app. Yeah, this is when you don't want to turn on admin on your ACR. This is the garbage you have to deal with. It is a major pain in the rear. As your identity assigned, apply bindings, set secrets, set environment variables. Why? Because I don't set any extra environment variables on this. The only thing that I'm doing is AZ container app identity assign to make sure that it actually brings it in from a user assigned, but we should have a system assigned identity for our container app. Go look. Oh, I didn't turn on the identity for the container app. I turned it on for the other app.
It was nobody.
So it really doesn't have an identity. Okay, so there's that. We are also then going to we are going to then probably need to grant it permission somewhere.
Yes, I would assume.
Yes. So now we have an identity. But that means the next thing that we do, I don't know, is it going to pick that up automatically? Well, send it.
I would assume.
Thinking. It is thinking and thinking. Okay. Not authorized to perform requests. Yes, it has gotten its identity. Huzzah. Finally, things are making sense.
Huzzah.
Azure Blob. So we need to give it permission to blob storage. So we've got this guy here. If we go back to our thingy, we go here. We go access control. We go add, role assignment. And let's go blob contributor, maybe?
Storage blob data contributor.
Yeah, I think that's probably good enough. Managed identity, select members. Managed identity, let's see. Container apps, and we're going to go with MyBot. And then review and assign, review and assign. Okay. And then I'm going to give that just a quick moment.
Might as well do the rest.
Well, I don't know what else I need unless you have a thought.
Postgres and OpenAI.
Postgres we won't need because
actually OpenAI
Postgres we won't need because we're using a connection string in our config that has the password in it.
We're not doing.
So,
then yeah, you're right. Storage container would be the only thing. Yeah.
I'm going to delete
because it's API key for
OpenAI. I'm going to delete the old one because at some point I want to reclaim that name and get everything called KabuBot all the way through here again because that would be epic.
But see, now you're running the risk because you've deleted that. Somebody could pick up the name between now and when you actually
I'm trusting people not to. I've got more time on. No, I don't. I don't have more time on my hands than other people. Okay, send it again.
They'll make you pay for it like a URL.
Let's see. This guy failed almost immediately. That was a very quick failure. Let me make sure that thing did. George Blob data contributor. That should be all it needs, right? Does it need to access
Yeah.
anything? Does it need to access files or